All right, welcome everyone to the Pickens County Commissioners regular session on Wednesday, January the 14th. Happy New Year to anyone we haven't seen so far this year. And we have some awards and celebrations to kick off our day today. We would like to start our day reading a proclamation recognizing Tom Dunlop for all of his service for Pickens County. And Tom, if you would please come up and join us, we'll kind of stand around here, and Patty Clapper is going to read the proclamation because of her close work with Tom over 50 years of service to Pickens County.
Got the mic here. Okay, I got a mic in front of me. It is a great pleasure and a great honor for me to be reading, I'm going to cry already, this proclamation for Tom Dunlop. I have worked and known Tom for 37 years, worked with him, starting off as the troublemaker in the room. That's what I get for eating Fritos before we start the meeting. And Tom was very patient with me for all the years, and we became really, really great friends and co-workers eventually. And literally 37 years of his 50 years, he has tolerated me. And so today I'm going to embarrass him because I know how he feels about getting awards. So this is a proclamation recognizing Thomas or Tom Dunlop for 50 years of service in environmental public health. Whereas Tom's 50 years of dedication reflect an extraordinary commitment to public service and have left a lasting legacy benefiting the residents, visitors, and future generations of Pickens County. Whereas Tom Dunlop played a foundational role in the creation, development, and long-term success of environmental public health programs in Aspen and Pickens County, earning a reputation for innovation, professionalism, and excellence. And whereas Tom Dunlop's career spans more than 5 decades of service in environmental public health, beginning in 1970, during which he has worked at the state, the local, and regional and national levels to advance public health policy, environmental protection, and community well-being. And whereas Tom Dunlop has represented Pickens County on numerous boards, committees, and advisory bodies, including appointments by the Pickens County Board of County Commissioners, the state of Colorado, and national public health organizations, serving as a trusted advocate for environmental health and public safety. And whereas Tom Dunlop has contributed significantly to statewide and national public health efforts through his work with organizations such as the National Association of County and City Health Officials, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Colorado School of Public Health, and other professional and academic institutions. And whereas Tom Dunlop's expertise has informed legislation, public policy, and regulatory practices related to food safety, environmental protection, hazardous materials, water quality, air quality, and community health, including invited testimony before the Colorado Legislature and the United States House of Representatives. And whereas Tom has also served his community as a firefighter and an emergency medical responder, also with Road and Bridge Division, as well as returning to full-time service during the COVID-19 pandemic, when his experience and leadership were invaluable to Pickens County Public Health. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Pickens County Board of County Commissioners congratulates Tom Dunlop on his remarkable milestone and thanks him for his continued service and dedication to the health and well-being of the Pickens County community on this day, dated the 14th day of January 2026. Before I let Tom speak, just so you know, it was 1988. Tom and I were getting involved, I was getting involved with Superfund at the smuggler site. Not only did Tom have to tolerate me as this passionate person, really, really committed to this effort, but I was also pregnant with my daughter, and Tom had to put up with me. He also took me to Washington, D.C. for my first trip, which was an experience for both of us. And we also spoke at a conference in Atlanta, Georgia, together. So Tom and I have done many, many amazing things together, and we have survived, and we have stayed really remarkable friends.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. You know, this is awesome. In 1970, the Clean Air Act was adopted, the Clean Water Act was adopted, the Environmental Protection Agency was founded, and I started in Larimer County approximately 2 weeks after the first celebration of the first Earth Day, April 22nd. So here we are half a century later, and attempts are being made to unravel the whole thing. So thank you for this. Thank you for the commissioners and the city council of Aspen for allowing me to represent you and to continue to do the fight. I'm not retiring. This is just a moment. So I just want to keep working as long as I can and representing the county and doing what's right, protecting the public's health and the environment. Thank you.
That's a relief, Tom.
And I think we may have at least one person who'd like to say something to acknowledge you. Did you want to come up, Kurt?
Do you need me to?
Yeah, come stand at a mic would be great.
So, just short and sweet, Tom.
No.
Thank you for
Like
your
me.
50 years. Thank you for your example and your leadership. Thank you for being a friend and a mentor. I'm glad you're not retiring, but I understand at some point if you have to, you will always have a chair welcome at the environmental health table and meetings, regardless.
Yeah,
So,
thank you very much.
but yeah, thank you for everything that you've done.
Thank you very much as well, yeah. You know, just one final moment. My wife, Lynn, is with me, and she had 25 years with Pitkin County. She was the budget director. And so together we have 75 years with the county. Holy
The
mackerel.
whole life.
Yeah. So anyway, we're both very grateful for the life we've been able to live here and to be able to contribute, and the completely wonderful, unequivocal political support that our department, our Public Health and Environmental Health Department, has had over the years makes it a joy to work here. Thank you again.
Bravo. Stay standing and we'll acknowledge Matt.
I have to include, Lynn, you come up because Lynn has also had to tolerate me through all these years. But Tom has always remained calm. And it used to really upset people who wanted to get him riled so they could quote him in newspapers or national television. But he was always this calm presence. And here was me on the other side of it. And so they never knew how to deal with Tom and I. And Lynn was always kind of caught in the middle of Tom and I going on these adventures. So thank you
Yeah.
also.
Thank you all. Thanks.
Wonderful.
It's a pleasure to be back.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Tom.
All right, we're just going to stand and look nice over here. Okay. All right. We also have the great pleasure of acknowledging one of our fantastic and continuing employees, Matt Bergstresser. Please come on up. And Scott Mattice, if you want to come up as well as his supervisor. Matt is being awarded by the American Public Works Association, Colorado chapter, as the Professional Manager of the Year. And Matt is our fleet director, and so we're so grateful to you. Cheers. All right, if you have anything to say, I think we have a representative from the American Public Works Association who would like to say some words. So Chuck, come on off mute, and we'd love to hear from you all.
Hi, good afternoon. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Glad to be here virtually. I'm Chuck Weiss. I'm the chapter president for the Colorado chapter of APWA for 2026, and it is my honor to just give some remarks on Matt's nomination here, Professional Manager of the Year. fleet maintenance, a small community for 25,000 in population. And just wanted to touch a little bit on, the submittal here for Matt. Just Pitkin County prides itself as a leader in electric vehicle adoption in Colorado. The driving force behind these efforts is Matt Bergstresser, Pitkin County Fleet Manager. Matt eagerly takes action to effect meaningful change throughout the agency, most notably by working to support sustainable transportation and enhance regional mobility by extending Pitkin County's infrastructure to better support EV commuters throughout the valley and the state. Matt quickly progressed through the ranks at Pitkin County after coming on as a mechanic and moving up through supervisor and finally fleet manager. What sets Matt apart from his recent success tackling a county transportation and fleet project with glowing reviews, embracing the county commissioner's directive to increase the EV fleet and infrastructure throughout the valley, he launched a public-facing, high-capacity electric vehicle program and continues to push the envelope, learn, and expand the county's EV infrastructure. When most mechanics are still saying there's no way to completely go electric in Colorado due to constraints such as long travel distances and mountainous terrain, Matt embraces the challenge and dove head on to find ways to accomplish the county's goals by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Matt worked diligently to acquire funding and grants from multiple sources and partnerships with state agencies, energy companies, and surrounding local agencies in order to successfully complete the implementations and upgrade charging capability for citizens and commuters. Matt has achieved the commissioner's goals, all while maintaining his regular daily responsibilities for fleet management operations and increasing buy-in amongst staff members and other departments. As more people choose electric vehicles, Matt is instrumental in providing Pitkin County is dedicated to building the necessary infrastructure and resources for a clean, more connected transportation future. Switching over to an EV fleet has been daunting to many, but Matt has become so well versed in electric vehicle systems that he and his team now look forward to the challenges and innovation the future brings. Through his leadership and knowledge sharing with his 9 mechanics, staff have become engaged and are excited the possibilities with the EV fleet. The direct fast charging stations that Matt has implemented are equipped with the latest charger to vehicle communication technology, have a user-friendly interface, real-time monitoring, power sharing for simultaneously charging 2 vehicles, and includes contactless payment options via credit card or ChargePoint app. And then just to summarize here, Matt continuously works to elevate sustainable transportation and enhance regional mobility by extending the county's infrastructure to better support electric vehicle commuters throughout the valley and the state. In response to the county's ongoing commitment to reducing greenhouse gas emissions, Matt is leading the Fleet Department's sustainability initiatives by successfully executing proactive approaches to environmental stewardship, setting a precedent for other communities to follow. As more people choose electric vehicles, Matt Bergstresser continues to prove that Pitkin County is dedicated to building the necessary infrastructure and resources for a cleaner, more connected transportation future. Congratulations, Matt.
If you ever having a bad day, you can just replay this.
Yeah, maybe not. It kind of takes one to the back. Thank you to the commissioners for supporting this, Pitkin County, Brian, Scott, everyone that's kind of helped bring this together and make it what it is. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
If I could, I just want to add something very quickly. One, the gratitude we have to a staff that are so on top of things that can make this sort of initiative happen. But I wanted to point out, you're in a community that's demanding this. Pitkin County has twice the EV adoption of the entire state of Colorado in terms of numbers of new vehicles purchased. Colorado is now, or has been in the last couple of quarters, the top EV adoption state in the nation. So you're at the bleeding edge, Matt, and you're kind of showing them how it's done, and I'm very proud of that, and I think the entire board is as well. So just wanted to point out that this is a community that's demanding this, And Matt and Scott and their team have stood up remarkably for it. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. You
Matt,
guys are-
congratulations. Well deserved.
Thank you.
Short and sweet.
Nice was.
I did not expect that. What the guy was going to say, I had no idea what the explanation was.
Well, and good because we didn't have a resolution. So it's like, let's put some meat on these bones.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is always a lovely way to start our business of the day. So, to kick us off, I will look to Interim County Manager Kara Silbernagel. Do we have any additions or deletions to today's agenda?
Thank you, Chair. We have one addition to the agenda. We have a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners to consider a letter of support to in support of Colorado Mountain College's grant application to the Colorado Opportunity Fund. That would be considered.
And are we putting that as, say, 3A as the first of our individual readings, or 3B? What is recommended?
I think the recommendation would be to add it following the consent agenda, so let's call it 3A.
Okay, sounds good. Is there a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, let's go ahead and open the meeting for public comment. This is for items that are not listed for a public hearing or a confirmatory reading to a emergency ordinance as listed on the agenda today. You're welcome to come up. You'll have 3 minutes, and if we can just check online, if anyone's online that wishes to make public comment. Again, for items not listed for public hearing, you will have 3 minutes. Please raise your hand. All right, welcome, sir. Please say your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Mark Gregory, and I am the CTE director at the Colorado River BoCCs. We're also known as EPIC, which stands for Educational Pathways to Innovative Careers. And I took in this position this last summer and was going through different grants and awards that we had received over the years. And we had received an award. I think, Francie, you really helped one of my colleagues, Mike Lowe, in that endeavor. But I was like, hey, I would love to come and talk to you guys about what we did with that award, which we received in September 2024 for the school year 24-25. And then we were able to continue using the funds into this fall. So I have some engagement data sheets with my card on it. I did send it to Sam, but I'll just pass these around to you guys, so that you each have one. I know I only have 3 minutes, so I would love to be able to request to get on a different agenda, to come back and talk in more detail, and to see if I could request another award if that program is still around, and to clarify anything in the documents that I am providing you about our engagement. Again, the Colorado River BoCCs. BoCCs is the Board of Collaborative Educational Services, or Cooperative Educational Services. It is a government nonprofit that operates throughout the state. Our region covers DeBeck to Aspen High School, and the funds that we use chiefly went to just residents of, only went to residents of Pitkin County, and to develop the career and tech ed programs further. Speaking of which, one of our teachers we work closely with, Mr. John Fisher, asked me to say hi to you, Greg, and to you as well, Patty. I think he knows you two very well. I'm sure he knows you other three well also, since he's been here for such a long time. But yeah, I just really appreciate what you guys are doing for school students and to help us get career and tech ed, which is kind of like VOTEC, only less limited, more entrances and exits, and an infusion of technology, but it's kind of taken over the VOTEC model from last century as we move in this century. But yeah, I don't have that much time, but if you have any questions, I'd be more than excited to answer them. On your forms, we got some general stuff on the backside that just kind of talks about some of the things we've done across our region. We also have some satellite districts that pay in. And then you guys in particular, I did some breakdowns of just our whole region so you could see, but then specifically what's going on with career and tech ed at Aspen Middle and Aspen High School, some future goals that they have relayed to me that they would like to do, that, we're working with grants and our donations and our sponsors, but we always appreciate it when the commissioners and the public are able to support us as well, presuming it aligns with what the community is looking for. And then we always pivot also based off of what community and our member schools say. But just excited to be able to come here and to thank you guys for your support and what it has meant for the kids in this area.
Thank you so much, Mark. I do think it's worthy of a longer conversation, and I'll look to the future chair and vice chair on scheduling.
Great.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mark. We really appreciate it.
Very quick.
You guys do amazing work.
Thank you.
Mark, quick question. Have you reached out to RAFTA? And have you reached out to Pitkin County's Public Works people regarding possible opportunities? I know you're working with CMC and others. Just wanted to, all I can ask for is a yes or a no, but I'd love to see, make sure that they're on your list.
Yeah, we're kind of finalizing working with them more directly here, especially for work-based learning opportunities. We both go to the Garfield County Economic Development Council, and then there's another regional one that we sit on. But yeah, we're looking with RAFTA for different ways to create more bridge. There is some difficulty there just because of age restrictions that typically follow with public transit opportunities, because a lot of students, they can't really enter into that until they're 18. So that can be a little bit of a difficulty. We find the same thing when we're doing internships though with for like heavy equipment. That I'd say that's the big one where there's a limitation, where we don't see that as much in aviation or in automotive as far as skilled trades of CT goes.
Looking for EVs on your list also.
Yes. And so definitely we did a lot of green pieces this last piece because I know that was an element that you guys were really interested in. We're kind of trying to work with Carter Mountain College and Jim Jones to further develop their EV program and then to help them expand that up to this county as well. With those pieces, it's always if you got an innovation center where you can actually house mechanics to do this piece. But we're planning to further help them in the storage of the equipment they use to teach kids through the CMC program. And then I suspect that would be available to Pitkin County students in their summertime programs. And then hopefully the superintendents and the boards of those districts will empower us and CMC to make it more opportunities during the school year too. But
Thank you for
that's
that.
their business.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Probably ran you out of
Congratulations.
time,
Thank you.
but thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
All right. Are there other folks in the room or online who wish to make public comment? Hi, Ellen, come on up.
Good afternoon. Ellen Anderson, Aspen Village Concerned Citizen. Yesterday, you did not allow public comments at your work session, so I'm taking this opportunity to address that. I'd like to respectfully offer you some facts, some of which may differ from what you heard yesterday. One, it is possible to distinguish ultrafine particles from PM 2.5 because ultrafines are a subset of PM 2.5 measured differently, and they're measured by count, not just mass, and have a distinct, often more severe health impacts. While all ultrafines are technically PM 2.5, they are a unique category with different properties and different monitoring needs. Two, ultrafine particles are generally considered more harmful per unit mass than PM 2.5, excuse me, due to their ability to deeply infiltrate the body and trigger systemic damage, making them a crucial, though often overlooked, aspect of air pollution's danger. Three, while quantitative health standards of ultrafine particles have not yet been established as of 2026, significant regulatory progress has occurred in the last year or two. A, in October 2024, the European Union mandated the measurement of ultrafines to align with the World Health Organization insights. B, the World Health Organization continues to maintain good practice statements rather than a strict numerical limit as of now. But they reaffirmed in 2025 urging nations to quantify, that is measure, ultrafines in terms of particulate number concentrations. So they're moving in that direction. C, the EPA strengthened annual standards for PM 2.5 in 2024. They lowered the PM 2.5 standard from 12 micrograms down to 9 micrograms per cubic meter. That's a 25% decrease. And that was based on new science showing the greater health risks of soot. And by the way, soot is a major component of ultrafine particles. And D, emerging science recently in Switzerland and Canada has established a clearer link between ultrafine exposure and mortality, providing the evidence base needed for future numerical standards. It's coming. The numerical standards are coming. My point is, we should measure ultrafines at ASE, first of all, because we can. The technology exists today, and it is being measured in other parts of the world, and to establish a baseline. Not doing so, I believe, is willful ignorance. And I'd like to close by just sending you, I love to send you links, 2 more links to recent science. One is from the National Institutes of Health in 2025. Aircraft emissions of ultrafine particles during landing and takeoff operations pose increasing human health hazards for airport employees. And then another one from the American Association of Cancer Research. Airport-related ultrafine particle exposure may be a risk for malignant brain cancers. And I'll send that to you, and I would also like my comments, because I wrote them down and I can enter them into the public record. And thanks for listening.
Thanks, Ellen. Pertinent.
Okay, other public comment today? Does anyone online wish to raise their hand? Yeah, come on up, Tony.
Good afternoon, everyone. For the record, my name is Tony Kronberg, and I just wanted to say thank you and congratulate you yesterday for bringing all the main players in for the redevelopment of the airport. As most of you know, I worked at the airport for 25 years, and I think you have a stellar project coming forward. I don't see anything that's glaring, that's jumping out. What Ellen just brought forward that is being worked on, and we'll address it, you will address it as best as you can. But I just want you to know that I particularly am really proud of all the hard work that the consultants that you've hired, the engagement that they've had with the public, the county staff, and all of you have put into the effort. But I just wanted to say thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Tony.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, any other public comment? Anyone online? You can raise your hand. That looks like mostly staff that I recognize, but a few I don't. All right, I'll close the public comment and I'll bring it to commissioner comments. Any commissioner comments today? Patty?
Again, I think the key word is snow. We need it. We need it for many reasons, not just the economy, but the environment. We need it to be prepared for a summer season that'll probably be warmer again this year. We need the water in our rivers, not just for the habitat of the river creatures. Those include human beings who enjoy our rivers for many reasons, but also just for the nature and the health of our valley. As my 8-year-old granddaughter repeatedly, almost 9-year-old granddaughter repeatedly says to me, water is life. And you know what? She's not far off on that one, is she? So I want to say that, but I also want to hold further comments until the next item on the item on our agenda where we thank Kelly as chair. I want to save some comments for that time. Thank you.
Okay, other commissioner comments today? Go ahead.
Quick comment.
This one's yours.
Is that one mine? Oh, okay. Just a quick comment. I just wanted to say that after yesterday's presentation, I had a similar response to Ellen Anderson. I just want to thank her for bringing that forward. I don't think it's beyond our ability to actually measure ultrafine particles, even though there's not a federal spec right now. We could be gathering data and collecting baseline information, and I don't believe there's a huge barrier to entry to doing that. And I just would love to suggest to my fellow commissioners that we ask staff to explore the actual expense and practicality of doing that, because this would be the time. Thanks.
Thank you, Greg. Any further commissioner comments of general nature today? Okay. Well, I will say my comments and then move into the next agenda item. So I just want to thank all my colleagues on the board. I've announced my resignation, which will be effective February 16th, and I will attend my last official board meeting on February 11th. And so the next item that we're going to talk about is related to the filling of the vacancy created by my resignation. I'll probably save my emotional words for my last meeting, but I did want to just thank everybody and thank everyone who's reached out and given me all the well wishes and offers of support and to move boxes and watch children and all sorts of things in a big move. And Pitkin County has a huge place in my heart, and I'm leaving a huge part of my heart in Pitkin County. So we are going to discuss the process for filling the vacancy. I will say I hope that my announcement gives plenty of time for interested candidates who wish to run for the regular election to replace my seat, which is during this year. The primary is in July and the general is in November. We'll talk more about upcoming deadlines, but I hope that this gives the people in the community who live in District 2 plenty of time to consider if they wish to run for the seat. They're welcome to reach out to me as well, and I can give my insider view of what the job is like. And so don't hesitate to reach out. So with that, I'll turn it over to Interim County Manager to lead us through the next steps and announce to the public how they can apply for the vacant seat for what will be 10 months. Go ahead.
Thank you. And first of all, I just want to say thank you, Kelly, and all of you that choose to run for public office. It is not easy, but it's necessary, and your direction and leadership for this community and for staff is, I think Pitkin County is such a lucky place because of the leadership that you all have brought, and Kelly, what you have brought into this organization and community. So thank you. With that, we'll walk through the process for appointing or for filling a vacancy. So pursuant to the Home Rule Charter, as a Home Rule County, Pitkin County is exempt from state statute requirements and has set their own requirements within the Home Rule Charter, which says that the board may fill the vacancy by a vote of the majority. And so, as the board has discussed, is that the recommendation is to move forward with an application process. And so we are following this as of right now. We are now accepting applications from interested parties that may want to be considered for filling the District 2 for the remainder of the 10-month period. I will just walk through a couple of the timelines, and then I can share on the screen if the board were like for the public. Let me share my screen.
Some people are visual
Yes.
learners.
Give me 1 second to share. I think I could do this quickly. Oh, it's because I have it over here. Sure, okay. All right. So as for anyone interested, as you can see, we now have the link up on the website. It's on any page, so we're trying to make it as easy for anyone to find. And from this link, you will see a Google form that outlines some of the timeline and overview of the commissioner role. I think, as Kelly said, there is no job description to be an elected official, but there is a lot that you all take on. And so we've got a brief summary, but encourage anyone interested to reach out as appropriate to Kelly or others about what the role of the county commissioner is. It's unlike any other, even in the state, as a Pitkin County commissioner. So the eligibility requirements per the home rule is just that anyone willing to be considered must live in District 2 for at least 1 year prior to appointment. So that would be February. Right now, we are looking at February 25th, 2026 as that date of appointment. And so 1 year prior, and a commitment to continue living in District 2 through the remainder of the term, which would be through January 12th, 2027. And that you must be a registered voter in addition to living in District 2. Those are the requirements for being considered for filling the vacancy. So walking through the timeline, we're opening up interest forms today. We are going to be accepting interest forms through February 6th. That's Friday. It will close at 5 p.m. Over the course of February 9th through the 13th, staff will be offering a County 101 overview to anyone that might be interested, kind of what we typically do for anyone that is also running for an elected seat, just to give an overview prior to interviews with the board. During your work session on February 10th, we will review the list of candidates with the BoCC and then are planning for interview with the candidates at the February 17th meeting. We've blocked out most of that meeting at this point, depending on the number that you all receive and how we want to narrow that down or keep it open. Tentatively planning for about 30 minutes per interview. And then following that, we have set the appointment and oath of office would be at the regular meeting on February 25th. So just a note for anyone considering, that would mean that beginning on February 25th, you would be a county commissioner and sitting at the seat for the rest of that meeting and starting the new job. So with that, we have also included, for anyone wanting to know about District 2, we've got a couple of links, but we have added an interactive link so you can see the districts by county. And then you are also able to zoom in, if this will work. So you can, oops, sorry, it's a little touchy. But you can see where you live and if that does fall into District 2, as well as if you have any questions, we have my contact information as well as Melissa Knight as HR Director for any questions about becoming a Picken County employee for anyone that might be interested as they're considering filling the vacancy.
Okay, great. Any questions for Kara, Patty, and then Greg?
Yeah, just real quick, but the other thing, on the 25th of February, we're also planning to have somebody here to swear them in to office.
We're working to make sure. Yeah, we're working to make sure. So that's tentative right now. That it was oath of office.
Thank you.
If you could articulate at least a couple of the questions that they should be prepared to answer.
Thank you. I knew there was
Maybe
one.
you were going there already.
Thank you for the softball. So we do have a couple of questions here as applicants or as folks are interested. So confirming living within the district, registered voter. And then just the few questions are, one, why are you interested in being appointed to fill the District 2 Commissioner seat? What boards or commissions do you serve on currently or have served on in the past? And then I think really understanding, what do you think are the top 5 issues facing the board and the county over the next 10 months and over the next 5 years, looking at the short term and a little bit more long term? And then what experiences would you bring to the board as you consider what those priorities might be in the future? And otherwise asking to upload a current resume, similar like we do for any citizen applications, and just affirmation and accepting that all the information is accurate.
Okay. Other questions? Greg?
I just wanted to comment that this is a very quick turnaround for bringing on a new county commissioner, unlike the election cycle, which can take months, many months or even years if people are announcing a campaign. So this is going to happen very quickly, but it also means both the community and possible candidates need to pay attention and jump in head first and follow this. This is an important role. And I just want to say that I'm grateful to everyone who has stepped up. They're going to find it incredibly rewarding, challenging at times, occasionally exasperating, but really for the most part, it's worth it, and it's a good thing to get involved with. So thank you to everyone who's contemplating this.
Thanks, Greg. Any other questions or comments? Francie?
Yeah, I was going to say something similar to Greg. It's a great job if you're interested in applying. If you're listening online, it is somewhat time-consuming, but you can have a life and be a county commissioner at the same time. And working for Picken County is an amazing experience, as almost anybody who works for the county will tell you. Our benefits package is the most generous I've ever seen. and the people we work with are fantastic. So if you're interested in politics and you want to help make decisions to make Pitkin County a better place, I hope you'll apply.
Thanks, Francie. Any other comments? I'll make a few. I'll also just note, if you are watching or in the room, you may want to hang on to our next agenda item, which is where we annually appoint ourselves collectively to the variety of external boards that we all sit on as part of our commissioner duties. And that will give you a very clear sense of the external work that commissioners do around the state and in the community, serving on RAFTA, serving on the Public Health Board, working on legislative advocacy down in Denver. So you might want to check that out to get a more robust view of some of the work that will be asked of you from February to next January. And then I don't want to confuse topics, but for folks who might be interested in running longer term for the permanent 4-year seat, information is available and live on the Pitkin County Clerk's site. You can go to pitkinvotes.com and select campaign information. I think it says 2026 campaign information. It has the candidate packet that candidates absolutely should familiarize yourselves with, because there are legal deadlines you need to make after you start talking publicly about running for office before you can collect money for a campaign. And if you are interested in obtaining an endorsement from either of the two political parties in our community, they also have forthcoming deadlines that you will need to talk with them about and meet as well. And so I'm glad there's time for folks to consider this, but there's not much. So think about your interest. Patty.
Can I just ask, Madam Chair, if there's anything the county clerk and recorder might want to share?
Yes, do you wish to?
I'd love
Have
to
we
put
covered
her
it?
on the spot too. She loves being on camera in front of everyone. I don't, but, I'd love to embarrass staff with me.
You can come on up, Ingrid. Yeah.
While she's coming up, I was going to add that Ingrid is your first source for information if you want to run for office. I always go right to her. I don't even go to the website. I go to Ingrid. She's incredibly helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
I think Kelly pretty much covered it. There are definitely some deadlines if you're, especially if you're looking for designation. You basically need to be of that party already. That deadline is passed, but there are also deadlines from when you announce that you're going to run, definitely. I mean, you can say, well, I'm thinking about it. That's not announcing, but announcing, you have 10 days to get the first form into us. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, I've got answers to other questions, but I don't know that I have to throw that out.
Specifically, if somebody is applying for this interim position, Kelly's seat, and as part of the interview, they were to say, I'm going to run, or I'm planning to run, that would start their 10-day time frame to actually come to you and file the paperwork.
It doesn't, it's a nebulous thing, but that's
Probably
pretty much
wise
if you
to
announce,
follow.
yes, that's how we look at
Just
it.
to give people a heads up that some of the deadlines are you have to stick to them. Some of them are a little, like you said, there's a gray area, but it's better to stick to them and not think about the gray areas.
Right.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Ingrid.
Yeah.
Greg.
Yeah, great, thanks, Ingrid. I just wanted to come back to the committee appointments. It's a little bit onerous to say, well, yeah, we're going to sign you up for everything in here. I think that once someone is appointed, there probably should be some back and forth in case it doesn't work for one reason or another. They should know that this is not an absolute obligation that they have to step in where you stepped out. And I just want to make sure they understand that, and still it's a little bit in flux, and things do, move around a bit. So there's some flexibility there.
Thanks, Greg.
So would we have to bring back a new resolution if we changed it significantly?
I was just thinking about that, and I think the answer is probably yes. I would assume that the alternate for the various committee assignments can fill the role for the short-term period, and then once the board is reconstituted with a new member, the discussion can be had amongst the board members to see how and if some of the assignments will be shifted around to accommodate everybody's schedule, and have a corresponding resolution to change anything that happens as a result of the next agenda action item today.
Okay, thank you, because we too like to play by the rules.
Of course.
Any other final questions or comments on this? Provide clarifying information?
Can I make
Okay.
one more?
Yes,
Just for
Kara, please.
I think there's one more item I just wanted to call out for the public. I think the board and commissioners spoke about the time commitment, but just for the public, that work sessions are every Tuesday. So as far as the time commitment, it is typically all day Tuesday, roughly the 10 to 5 of having be blocked out, and then every other Wednesday obviously is our regular meeting starting at noon. But just wanted to, the baseline that is recognizing that that is happening in the middle of the day, and you can have a life outside of it, but it does eat into your daytime work too.
And second and fourth Wednesdays.
Yes,
usually.
second and fourth Wednesdays.
Can I add to that? And the fifth, if there's a fifth week, fifth Tuesday, we don't have a work session. We technically have 4 work sessions a month. The other thing I wanted to add is that I know it's going to be, maybe people are contemplating, well, I already have a job and this is only for 10 months. What do I do after that? It's possible to have another source of income or job, but it should not interfere with what you need to do as an elected or as an appointed member of the Board of County Commissioners, because sometimes people don't want to totally close that other opportunity in case they either choose not to run for the full-time position in November's election, or they run and don't get elected. So there's some flexibility there, but there is definitely a time commitment to serve as a member of this board.
Thank you.
Can I throw in one other?
Go ahead.
Just regarding conflicts of interest. That'll probably come up in Pitkin County 101, but people need to understand that, at some point they may have to recuse themselves if they have a conflict or disclose. And that, I think all those things would be, shared with them in advance. But it's something to think about if you're contemplating applying.
Especially if you have a big family. It seems like it happens to me.
If you're related to everyone in the
Yeah, like
valley,
me,
it's
I'm kind of
probably-
related to everybody in the valley. It's kind of sketchy there.
And it shouldn't be a reason to deter you, but it is something that will have to be, you should think about and discuss with Kara. Rye is always here to give advice to any of us on whether we have a conflict to disclose or refuse from a decision. And it happens. It does happen.
And can I ask, is it really easy to find the link to that form on the website?
Yes.
Right on the
Yep,
homepage.
we have made it. It's on the top of any pitkincounty.com website page that you might land.
Excellent,
Perfect.
thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank staff for
Well
turning it
done.
around so quickly. We appreciate it.
And best of luck to all of you in selecting my replacement.
Come
Okay.
join us. Yeah.
All right, well, I think we beat that to death. So let's move on to our consent agenda, which is minutes of December 17th regular meeting and our January 6th special meeting. And citizen board appointments, we are appointing 2 members to the Aspen Airport Advisory Board, replacement in Basalt, the new town manager, Gloria Cashburger will take that role on, and then Evan Marks has been serving, and we neglected to formally appoint him. So we are ratifying that appointment, and those are the only citizen board appointments on the res today. Yes, Patty?
I need to take off the January 6th meeting because I need to not vote on that because I was not in attendance. So I will make a motion for the minutes of December 17th and the citizen board appointments.
Is there a
I'll
second
second.
to approve? Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 6th, 2026, special meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll note
And I'm
Patty's
stepping out.
recusal on that one.
Thank you.
Or abstention on that one, I should say. All right, and then let's move on here to our individual consideration items. We have the item that we've amended to add to the agenda, which is resolution in support of CMC's Colorado Opportunity Scholarship Resolution, scholarship application. And I see Charlotte online. Charlotte, if you wish to, we do this every year, I believe. I'm not sure if it's changed, but if you want to come online and give us some information. Michaela, Charlotte might have to be promoted. Hi, Charlotte. Can we hear you?
Is she rejoining? There we go.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you for adding this item at the last minute. I just received it from CMC. So yes, we do this annually. It's a $2,000 grant that they'll be applying for Pitkin County students. And so we have to have the letter of support and the resolution.
Okay, any questions for Charlotte on this? I know we've all been handed a hard copy. Okay. Let's see, this is an informal resolution, right? So no public hearing, right? Okay, thank you. All right, is there a motion to approve?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to partner with Colorado Mountain College in applying for and distributing the COSI 2025-2026 Matching Funds Scholarship.
I have one comment.
Okay, go ahead, Patty.
I want to know if the incoming chair, his name is on the letter, wants his H initial in the signature line. Because it's Howard, correct?
For all of Pitkin County, my middle name is Howard.
And I'm happy to do this. We do it every year, and it's a great opportunity for education in through the CMC process, which is great.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to our next individual consideration item in one read resolution. This is usually the first thing we do in a year, but we've had other things ahead of us this year. The resolution appointing chair and vice chair and commissioner representatives to various boards, committees, and authorities. And so Amy, are you going to lead us through this one, if you wish?
Sure.
We did, look at this or allude to this a little bit in our prior conversation. We rotate the chairmanship every year, and so I will be concluding mine at the end of this discussion, and Jeffrey Woodruff will move up into chair, and Francie Jacober will move in as vice chair and lead the board for the next year. And then we have a variety of our appointments, and I'll turn it over to you.
So the resolution in front of you just reflects all of the changes that we made when I brought it forth a few weeks ago. And then we did make the adjustment for anywhere that, any board that Kelly is currently serving on, we've just changed it to Commissioner District 2, just to make it a little more general, knowing that that conversation may come up when that new individual is appointed. Greg, for the moment, we have left you on the opioid committee. I wasn't able to find an alternate for you. I apologize. So that's as we leave it as stands. So unless there are any additional changes, I think it's ready for approval.
All right, questions or discussion? Patty?
I have comments. I want to thank Kelly. Kelly does an amazing job running meetings as chair. She keeps track. She makes sure that staff has direction clearly at the end of each meeting, end of each topic, which is critical. She does her best to keep us in control and to allow us to talk
The toughest
freely.
part of the job.
And she tries to make sure that we maintain some level of decor, that when we disagree, that we do so respectfully, and that's not always easy because we are passionate about things and we get heated about things, and Kelly tries to keep us focused. Actually, has done a great job keeping us focused, and I'm gonna miss that. We're gonna miss Kelly in general, but definitely as chair. Jeffrey, you've got some slippers to fill over here. We appreciate it, and Francie as vice chair, and it's the year is starting off a little different than we thought it would, between trying to fill the county manager seat and now Kelly's seat. So if that's how we're starting, hopefully things will calm over the rest of the year, and we will we'll be able to really start moving forward with some of our priorities. And we want Kelly to know that when you do leave this board in February, we know where to find you. And it's a small town, so we can find you. So be prepared. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
All right, any further discussion on these appointments? Francie?
Thank you also, Kelly. I tell Kelly as often as I can that she's an amazing chair. Both the last time she was a chair when I was here and this time she does a remarkable job. And I just wanted to tell you all that I'm stepping into her role with the Wild Scenic Stakeholders Group. So
It's awesome. Francie, I think you'll infuse energy in that, which is great. Thank you. Any further comments on these? Everyone okay with their appointments?
Ditto on what they said.
Oh, thanks, Greg. Appreciate you. Okay, well, if there's no further action, again, this is an informal resolution, so we do not need to take public comment on this. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Patty. Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And now we ceremonially switch seats.
I want people, I'm
Name
staying
tag.
in my seat over
Before
here.
we switch seats, we want to thank you for chairing for the past year.
Thanks.
on
This is
behalf
so
of the board,
nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right.
And just as you switch seats, with the appointment of that resolution, I do have a few things for Jeffrey to sign. Welcome to the job. We have the CCI designation of proxies for 2026 and the notice of appointment of Francie to the Colorado River Conservation District. If I'll leave these for your signature.
Can I ask the new chair a question?
Perfect.
Since it technically wasn't public comment, I didn't know if anybody in the room wanted to make a comment about Kelly stepping down as chair. I didn't know.
Be willing to take public comment.
Save it for the last meeting.
Okay, we're saving it for the last meeting.
All right. Switch.
Okay, we're giving you 4 hours to get through this, Jeff.
Yeah.
We're ahead of schedule for what I thought. we were
We're doing well.
Such a different, which I've never had to do.
DJ,
Can you, yeah, I do.
Patty.
Can you let the public know where that is? So we know what we're adding?
DeRay Way is located off of Redstone Boulevard in Redstone.
And it runs from the first bridge, which is the South Bridge, North Bridge,
South Bridge
to Faloha?
towards
That
Faloha.
neighborhood.
That is correct.
Okay, great, thank you.
No problem.
Further questions for DJ?
I'm glad. To north. I never know.
Please.
I would just ask, what does that represent in terms of, a change in the allocation?
Yes.
Is there a dollar figure attached?
It's too early to be able to allocate any dollars for the
Next year.
correct. We'll have that determination
Okay.
once that funding comes out.
Great. We're glad it's back in the fold. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Further discussion?
Thank you.
I'll just say thank you to DJ and the crew for maintaining all of these miles of road that we have in Union County.
Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah,
Thanks,
good
Ward.
job.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're off to the races.
Ryan Mahoney, Diane Jackson, welcome back. 2 days in a row.
Thank you.
Extra credit.
They have another long meeting
Highlight
this
ticket.
afternoon.
You do. You have full of air.
Oh, tomorrow you have your meeting.
Yes,
Maybe.
AAV tomorrow. Just proceed without video for now. If you guys have any questions. We briefly went over this yesterday. Today, we're asking for an informal resolution to approve submitting our first of hopefully 3 grants this year to the FAA for runway 1533 construction. It is in the amount of $9,638,173. And just to go over yesterday, we kind of went through the different pots of money that we would be looking for. This is out of the infrastructure grant program. We have been holding these for this project. As you'll see, approximately 1.6 million of that will expire this year if we don't put it over toward the runway. So we, at the staff level, are asking the board to approve using the full amount for the runway and the early enabling projects this year. And I apologize if I have graphics for you, and Michaela gets back, I can kind of go over where we are with that. So it would be our new chair to sign that for us.
Excellent. Greg?
We saw this previously.
You did.
And I think people understand it. I'm just going to be, I'll just be precocious and put forth a motion to approve.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Greg and Francie, any further discussion?
I do.
Patty?
Yeah, I want to thank you for the efforts to seek whatever dollars we can to move the airport modernization program forward. And I'm keeping a file of all these dollars, so when we go to Washington, we can show our congressional delegation and others that we mean business and we're moving forward. And we're going to hopefully be able to use any dollars we've been able to bring back to us now to help to lobby for more dollars in the future. So I think having all this information, I have my save at the top for my airport file, I think is key. So whatever efforts we can assist you with in finding extra dollars, I think will be more than happy to help.
We do appreciate it, and it definitely has been a team effort, and getting the understanding out there too that we have the runway pot of money and then we have the terminal pot of money. So I do appreciate everyone's effort in helping spread that word.
We're working on it. Let's get her done, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you to Kelly as one of your last acts for the airport signing our terminal application. So that will be submitted today. So
Yay.
thank you.
It was submitted today?
It will be right after this meeting.
Even
Jess
give me
and I are working
goosebumps.
on that.
Yay.
Further questions or comments regarding 1533? All those in favor?
Aye.
We had a motion and a second. It was Greg and Francie. Yeah.
You can't leave yet.
And we're on number 6 for
Good to see me again,
For
folks.
grassroots, we're on number 6, which is planning assessment and FAA facilities.
Yes, so this one might take a little more explaining. As we endeavor on our runway project, we kind of tipped into this yesterday with Heath when he was talking about the runway. There are required nav aids or navigational aids for the runway that are FAA owned and maintained. We have to sign an agreement with them for them to just start their design process for that, shifting all of those needed equipment to the west along with the runway. This is reimbursable. We do have to pay it in full and get reimbursed. The only other budget impact to this is they have asked us to hold this for next year's grant, not this year's grant, because of the 4-year cycle of this, 5-year cycle of this versus the 4-year cycle of grants. It just makes it easier for reimbursements for that. So it is $450,000, but we will get reimbursed at that at a 90% rate next year from the FAA.
Questions for Diane, who's doing this without visuals?
I did have a beautiful PowerPoint for you.
It's okay.
I do want to
Patty.
I do want to thank you again, and for helping me clarify, because when I first saw this number, I thought 900 million, and she had to clarify. No, it's a little under $1 million. I'm looking at, our proposed bonding opportunities, which was the possibility of 900 million.
I thought I
Not
made a
900
typo,
billion,
Patty.
almost $1 billion. But it's a lot of zeros and,
It is, and I-
a lot of commas and decimal points. So,
I can appreciate
so
everyone's
thank you. Thank you for-
careful eye on this. So
Yeah.
this is something we're looking forward to working with FAA on.
We'll be more than happy to help there too. Thank you.
Further questions or comments for Diane Jackson?
I would like to make a motion.
Patty?
I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution. I'm going to read the whole thing. Of the Board of County Commissioners of Pitkin County, Colorado, authorizing the chair to sign a non-federal reimbursable agreement with the Department of Transportation, Federal Aviation Administration in the amount of $900,746.96.
No, that's an old.
It
that's an
was
old reso.
revised, and I apologize.
Yeah,
but I
it should.
didn't mean
The
to jump
dollar
in.
amount should be 450,373 spot 48.
Correct.
So what? So
It
it's
was
not
just revised
900. Oh, so I.
prior to publishing, I think. So you may have had the original copy. You
I
are
have the
absolutely
original
correct,
paper
Patty.
copy
It was
that
put
I
in
print
for
out
that.
on Friday afternoons. So, Jeffrey, will you fill in the number again for me?
So $450,373, spot 48.
Okay, to perform preliminary planning to assess the impacts of FAA facilities as a result of the runway 1533 reconstruction at the Aspen, Pickens County Airport or Sardi Field.
I'll second.
Greg, thank you.
And I'd also like to say this is a first reading, second reading, public hearing on January the 28th.
Thank you. Further comment, questions, commissioner comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
See, I still had the numbers wrong.
Totally fine. This one was my fault, Patty. Thank you.
So we're moving, for grassroots, we're cranking, we're on solid waste center. Thank you.
It would be Robin and Andrew.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hi, Liz.
It's good to see you all again.
Likewise.
I am Liz Woods, Finance Director, Treasurer, and Public Trustee for Pickens County, and we are here today to discuss the issuance of bonds for the Solid Waste Center. I have online with me, jumping on, Robin Moore and Andrew Ma from the Piper Sandler, who are our financial consultants on this, on all of our debt issuances, actually. And they have a short presentation to just kind of give a timeline and talk about where we are before we go through the resolution.
Afternoon, everyone. This is Robin Moore. It's good to see you all again. We talked to you early December about several bond issues, and at the time noted that the solid waste bond issue would be the next to come, and here we are. So we're going to go through, talk about the process, give you an update on where the rates look and what's to come in the next couple months to get this bond issue to market and to get you funds so you can build the project. So here we are in mid-January. We are still expecting to close, which means that's when you get the funding in late February. Liz and Ann and the solid waste team did a really nice job earlier in the week, actually yesterday, of giving a presentation to Standard & Poor's. They're the rating agency that will provide a credit rating for the bonds. And then today we have a first reading of the bond resolution and then a second reading on the 28th. These include the key financing documents that you will be approving and big stack of documents, so happy to take questions about the actual documents, but the point of today is to approve at first reading the bond resolution and supporting documents. So what are these documents? Again, the bond resolution that establishes the security in the bond structure, and it sets parameters on the bonds, and we'll go through those on the next page. That's the maximum size, the maximum interest rate, and you delegate that authority to Liz and Ann and the staff for them to price the bond issue. The preliminary official statement, or POS, is the offering document, so very similar to a stock prospectus. It's what the underwriters will use to market the bonds or sell the bonds to investors. It talks about the bond issue, it talks about the county, talks about the solid waste fund, talks about the project, and has a lot of information for investors to decide whether to make a purchase of the security. We also have included a bond purchase agreement, and that is the agreement between the county and your underwriter, which is Stiefel, who the county selected by way of an RFP process. And that document will lock in the rates and allow Stiefel to purchase the bonds when we sell them at pricing. So where are we for interest rates? When we came to you last in early December, we had an interest rate of about 4.35%. It's driven in large part of what the municipal bond market is doing and by the credit rating. And as we noted on the prior page, the bond resolution establishes parameters. So the maximum amount of bonds that can be sold, or what we call the par amount, is 22 million. And that's here, Andrew circling that on the bottom right of this table. The maximum interest rate, and that's a combined rate, is 5.25%. The total debt service, that's principal and interest over the life of the bonds, is set at a maximum of 37 million. And the final maturity, or the last year that you will repay debt service or principal and interest, is December 31st, 2045. So today we are still well within those parameters. We're at a 4.29% interest rates, down a little bit from when we talked to you last time. The total debt service is at 35 million and change, and that's still well within the 37 million maximum parameter that we have set in the resolution. The maximum, or the, I'm sorry, the average annual debt service is 1.77 million. That's where we are today, fairly similar to before. And the final maturity is December 1/45. So we're sticking with the maturity that is set in your bond resolution. Any questions about the document or the financing as of right now?
Robin, got one in the room. Kelly.
Yeah, you have all taught us a lot over these last years, but and I'm sure you've told us this, but I'm forgetting if.
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing if there's a question.
I'll start over. Thank you for all you've taught us over the years. What I don't remember is if we have opportunities to refinance these at any point in time between the maturity now and the maturity date.
Yeah, it's a very good question. So there is an opportunity to refinance the bonds. Typically that period is a 10-year, what we call a par call. So it means you can refinance it at no additional cost at a 10-year period. Sometimes we look at refinancing date that's a little bit shorter, but typically in our municipal bond market, we see a 10-year refinancing call date.
Great, thanks for that.
You're welcome. And most municipal bonds do get refunded, so that's a very good question.
Further questions?
And then on the next slide, we really just show, we depict the interest rate movement. You can see we're all the way on the right side here. You know, a little bit of movement since we saw you last, but generally speaking, the market's been pretty stable. We sold about a $90 million City and County of Broomfield bond issue today, and it did exceptionally well. There's a lot of investor interest for municipal bonds. That's been strong since the beginning of the year. You know, there's still an expectation that the Fed will have potentially up to 2 interest rate cuts. So we could see more, you know, that's a cut on the Fed funds rate, but it oftentimes impact, you know, there's a trickle down or it impacts the treasury market and then the tax exempt municipal bond market. But overall, we're still seeing a very favorable municipal bond market that is going to be very excited to see a Pitkin County issue here in the next couple of months. So what happens next? We go through this process that we talked about before where we're getting the bond rating. Once we get that bond rating and we have all the second approval from the BoCC, the preliminary official statement or the POS will get posted. We have that out in the market for about a week, and we call that a pre-pricing or pre-marketing period. There's a pricing date where the bonds get sold, and then there's a closing about a week or so, a week to 2 weeks later. In this case, it's about February 26th is what we're targeting. That's where all the documents will have been signed and the funds get sent over to you to start building the project. And I think we talked about this a little bit last time. Municipal bond sale takes place in about an hour-and-a-half order period where there are a variety of investors that participate. So we have, generally speaking, a combination of institutional investors and retail investors. So individuals can buy bonds, or makes up a good portion of the bond market is bond funds and insurance companies and pension funds. A few examples here: BlackRock, Vanguard, TIAA. There's usually a nice list of investors that participate. But if you're starting to hear questions, there are certainly opportunities for individuals in the community and across the state to purchase the bonds.
Question? Interesting. Thanks for this, Robin. A question maybe for Liz or Robin. It says, if the county accepts Stifel's proposal for underwriting, what criteria is the county going to be looking at in terms of interest rates and terms?
Yeah, very good question. At the leading up to the pricing, so we serve in the role, as Liz said, we serve in the role as a financial advisor or municipal advisor. So we are your fiduciary. We are an investment bank. We have our own underwriters who will be monitoring the expected pricing and the pricing. And the pricing is driven by a number of factors. One is what the base index is. So we had mentioned, I think we talked about last time, that the U.S. Treasury market is a taxable index. We work off the tax exempt equivalent of that market. So we work off of what's called the municipal market data, or MMD. So there's this index, and then every other bond issue prices to a spread above the index. And we use comparable transactions, so bonds with similar rating, similar term, similar structure, to gauge whether the pricing is where it should be at the right levels. And we also assess where the market is on any given day, on your pricing day, to determine if it's the right levels for the county to accept the offer. Now, generally, what will happen is, short of some market catastrophe, is we, based on how many investors come in and participate in the bond issue, we likely will work with Stifel to adjust pricing. So if we have a lot of investors that put in orders for bonds, we often lower interest rates. If we are short orders or we don't have enough investor interest, we occasionally increase interest rates. But at the end of that order period and the end of that discussion, there's generally going to be an offer that the county will accept. And we sort of fine tune the actual interest rates based on those criteria.
Copy that. And then Liz, your department makes the decision.
We'll be working with Robin to decide if we will proceed at that time.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have kind of a off-the-wall kind of question, but over this past year, there was a lot of debate at the federal level about removing the tax-exempt status of municipal bonds. I think I know the answer, but I want to make sure. So if that was to change, and we already had a bond that we had negotiated and had signed, it sold, right? They could not come back and change that tax-exempt status if the federal government chose to remove that exemption.
Correct.
So it would be locked in regardless of what the feds may do, because it was a heated discussion in Washington. Okay. So, but if it comes up again, the board will still be fighting to keep the tax exempt status, regardless of the fact it won't affect any bonds we've already issued.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, unless there's something very weird that happens that
Which
I
can
am not
happen
aware of.
these
Yes, that is correct.
So once you're locked in, once you're locked in, you're locked in. So we will be keeping an eye on that. Okay, great. Thank you.
And Robin and Andrew, this is minor, but a single rating agency because of the size of the issuance.
Yeah, that's correct. So typically for this size transaction and one of such strong credit quality as yourselves, will typically carry one rating, which is we see as a more cost-effective option instead of requiring two ratings.
Thank you. So we may see something different for the airport bonding.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, for the airport financing, we would most likely, as you say, seek two ratings or possibly more.
Yeah, my concern was really, do we lose investors that would see the value in multiple agency?
Yeah, and that was historically a trend in the past, and in recent years, I would say in the past decade or so, that requirement really has died down amongst the investing community. So investors are very attuned to seeing transactions with one rating nowadays.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm a 90s swaps trader, so I'm used to having multiple.
Whatever that means, I went over my head.
Any further questions for Robin, Andrew, Liz?
Motion to approve.
Greg?
I'll make a
This is
second.
a public. This is.
The first reading, second reading, public hearing on January the 28th.
So first by Greg and a second by Patty.
Mm-hmm.
Any further discussion?
Just looking at Liz, how you doing? Is this gonna add to your workload significantly?
It will actually, it'll be nice to get this done. So we're looking forward to this.
Having
Yes.
been up to this moment. Okay.
So for the For the sake of, we are moving fast, I'm actually going to read the resolution authorizing the issuance by Pitkin County acting by and through its Solid Waste Center Enterprise Revenue Bond Series 2026 for the purposes of financing the construction and equipping of an expansion to the County Solid Waste Center, authorizing the establishment of certain reserves for the bonds and paying the cost of issuance of the bonds, providing the form of the bonds and other details in connection therewith, and approving other documents relating to the bonds. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Thanks, Liz. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin and Andrew. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you. Okay. For grassroots, we're moving on to Lindsay and Norma, an IGA with Garfield County.
Hello, Board of County Commissioners. Lindsay Maish, Human Services Director for Pitkin County. Thank you for seeing this today. This should be relatively fast, I hope. So we're looking to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Garfield County to provide state-approved eligibility training for our Pitkin County eligibility workers. I know that this is a very volatile time right now, and there's a lot of unknowns, but one of the things that we do know with certainty is that we need to have well-trained staff, no matter what happens. So we have really struggled since COVID because everything turned virtual. We used to do in-person training for all of our eligibility staff for public benefits programs, and that went away. And then there were some hub counties, we'll call them, that were continuing to do in-person training with state approved trainers. Garfield County is one of those. We've tried to just do the state training without the in-person and have found that it has just not been very effective. This intergovernmental agreement will be probably less than $25,000. We have it set to go to $25,000 if needed. We can use our allocation to cover these costs because it's a core service to the programs. So today I'm asking for your approval to enter into an agreement with Garfield County. Any questions?
I'd just say, it sounds like a great idea, have in-person training.
Yeah.
It's nice that the opportunities come up so close.
Garfield County has been very graceful, and they have actually started already for us, anticipating just this to move through. It has been so, we have a new staff person, and it has been so helpful, not just for the operations of our department, for the manager to get the support that they need, as well as to have some quality assurance and oversight, like over-the-shoulder oversight, to help them to be really efficient in their work.
Craig.
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. Costs are approximately $6,315 per staff member. We're allocating $25,000 as the maximum, so that would be fewer than 4. How does that work out? You want to be able to go up to $25,000. What are you anticipating?
It's if we have an entire turnover in our eligibility staff, which we're not anticipating, but if we do, and then there's also the opportunity for us to do refresher trainings for all of our staff. It does not cost that amount, the $6,000. That's really for the new training onboarding. They have learning labs in Garfield County where they go sit and they're working with people and actually working our cases. So it's really just meant to allow us to have more training capacity within our team and in partnership with Garfield County.
And you have 3 people or 4? How many do you
We
have?
have 4 staff.
You do
Yep,
have
we
4,
have
okay.
4 staff people.
Patty.
Do we know what we're actually training for at this point? Because as you said, the volatility of, so it's kind of, here's the basics and we're going to need to be flexible as things come down the pike.
Yeah. Yeah, I was giggling a little bit about the federal dollars because we are also tied to federal agreements and are currently sitting in a position where we may not receive those funds even though they're contracted for us. So Yeah, it's a really, really good point, and I think even more important because as the rules change, as House Reconciliation Bill 1 comes into effect, there's that timeline that we presented to you all of kind of the different earmarks of where that happens. It's going to change the way our workflow happens, and we're going to need more on-site, in-person support when it comes to rule changes and law changes and human services reform in general.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Punishments, things like that.
Yeah, error rates. We call them PER. Yeah, the PERs. Yep, the error rates. Yep.
Further questions, observations for Lindsay?
Motion?
Greg?
I'd make a motion to approve the resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the BoCC and Garfield County Commissioners for eligibility training support.
I'll second. Okay, and then note second reading, public hearing is the 28th of January.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thank you. Good to see you.
Looking at the board, do you guys need a break?
We have to vote.
Oh, we should do that first before we break. All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you. Does the board need a break? We're on our 9th item. Do you want to go one more with Andrew Miller? Andrew Miller, we're going one more.
It's okay to get out early.
I know, what's the time for the event? Francie, what's the time for the event in Glenwood? Just 5:30? Okay.
Patty's already talking about happy hour, so.
No worries.
I just wanted to know that, because I didn't think we'd be out in time, but we're moving well. Thank
Moving
you.
along.
Hi, Andrew.
Of course. Hi. Good afternoon. Andrew Miller, Housing Program Analyst. Before you with a second reading of an ordinance for a purchase of a deed restriction buyback that we helped an employee buy. I'll give you some kind of just quick refreshers on that purchase and kind of where we're at. It was purchased back in 2018. At that point in time, purchase price was $625,000. County contributed 40% or $250,000 of that purchase price, while the employee did 60% or $375,000 of that purchase price. 1,256 square foot condominium with 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, located in Snowmass Village. As of right now, our buyback with appreciation is $649,933, and that would bring the county's total investment to $899,933 for our county's total investment in the property so far. There is one thing I wanted to note: the agenda. I'm sorry, I missed the update on that. The actual address, we had an amended extend that was attached as well, was updated to 35 Lower Woodbridge Road, Unit T170. There were some issues when we were talking with the titling company on the addressing, but we got that sorted out, so my apologies for not catching that on the agenda, but it's updated on the ordinance and the agenda item summary as well. One request that was asked from the first reading was some of the HOA information in terms of what we pay in dues or what is currently being assessed in dues. They assess quarterly at Seasons 4. Right now in 2025, the information I have is that they were assessed $4,627 each quarter. Just over 3,000 of that was for operating. They have a cable agreement, so each owner pays $277 a month for that cable agreement, and then $1,288 was going towards reserves each quarter. There, broken down monthly, that averages about $1,542 there. Yearly, what they were assessed for 2025 is $18,508 for that. Fairly high, but they don't have any special assessments right now, and they're not looking to have any special assessments, at least as of right now from the information we've received from that HOA, but that is why their reserves are so high. One last additional thing is we have submitted our inspection objections as of last Friday. The seller has until this Friday to come to final resolution. We are expecting that some of those items we will receive credit for, so we would anticipate seeing a price drop there. I do not anticipate seeing a price increase based off any of those inspection items.
Questions for Andrew regarding 35 Lower Woodbridge? This is a public hearing, taking public comment on 35 Lower Woodbridge Road. Closing the public comment on 35 Lower Woodbridge Road. Any further questions or comments from commissioners?
I'll make a motion if you want.
Please.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance approving the purchase of 34 Lower Woodbridge. 35 Lower Woodbridge, 170 Snowmass Village, Colorado 81615. That's it.
I'll second that.
Excellent. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
So grassroots, we are on CDPHE.
What, are we taking a break, or are we gonna do number 10?
Do you guys need a break?
I don't need one yet.
I don't.
but If you do.
We're good. Grassroots, we're gonna keep going. So, welcome.
Hello, I am Ariel Holstein, a public health planning analyst, and here to ask for the approval of a resolution to approve an IGA with Garfield County Public Health. So a little bit of background, we applied for a grant from CDPHE, the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, to conduct a chronic disease assessment and implement a chronic disease prevention improvement plan over the next 3 years. The way that the funding structure works is that we are working jointly with Garfield County, and the money will cover the 2 counties. So we are planning to work with staff at Garfield County Public Health to assist in the work of the grant. And so what the IGA will do will allow us to pay the staff members for their time doing this work. And for the next 6 months, that amount is $19,500. And I did get the feedback that you all would have liked some additional information to what I presented at the first meeting. So thank you, Kara. So I included in your packet the local public health agency chronic disease framework. And that's a pretty broad framework from the state looking at chronic disease. And as you can see, it looks at chronic disease from multiple angles, multiple aspects of chronic disease, and includes a whole bunch of potential strategies that local public health agencies can choose based on what comes out of the assessment. And so I can't tell you what we will end up choosing because we have not completed the assessment yet. We potentially will be continuing work that we already do and using these funds to strengthen the current work. And I've included a few examples of work we're doing in these areas. So for example, for physical environment, our environmental health team, actually right now, every January provides education about radon and radon test kits. So that's one piece. With healthcare access, the public health department is currently beginning a behavioral health strategic plan in conjunction with other partners to address behavioral health needs in the community. And there's actually a position posted for a behavioral health facilitator. So that's another example. For tobacco alignment, we have one staff member who conducts work on tobacco prevention and cessation in both Pitkin and Garfield counties. There's another number of other things we're already doing to work on chronic disease in our communities. So again, I can't say what we will end up choosing as our strategies. It will depend on what comes out of the assessment, what we have the capacity for as a department, and what the community is interested in seeing us do. Do you have any other questions for me? Is there additional information I can provide that would be helpful?
Questions for Ariel?
No.
Yeah, I'm still trying to make sense of this a little bit. So, even though this is attached to tobacco funding and the tobacco cessation programming, we're not limited to that.
Correct. So it's from the same funding structure. It is tobacco tax, but this is for chronic disease more broadly.
Yeah.
And so we may end up strengthening our tobacco work if that's an area we find needs strengthening and we have the capacity for, but we're not limited to that.
This is a public hearing, opening the public comment for Ariel's resolution. Closing the public comment, coming back to the board. At this point, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make Motion
I'll second.
to approve the resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the BoCC on behalf of Pickens County and Garfield County Public Health to jointly complete the local public health agency chronic disease pilot grant administered by the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment.
So I got a first by Francine, a second by Greg. Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Good luck.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for the additional information.
Of course.
Given we've got both Alex and
I need to take a break, so,
You want to take a break?
yeah.
apologies to Michael and Alex, we're taking a break. We see you in the room.
5 minutes, I think they'll be set up by that time. I don't think it's a big inconvenience.
No problem.
Welcome back. This is the regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners on Wednesday, January 14th. Up next, we have updates to Title IX to prohibit camping and overnight occupancy in public right-of-ways in unincorporated Pitkin County. We're joined by Ryan Neely. We're joined by the Undersheriff Alex Borchetta and the Sheriff Michael Buglione. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeffrey. So it's a little more than updates. This repeals and reenacts the entirety of Title IX. There's some cleanups that go with the BoCC action, but the substantial thrust and the intent of the ordinance is to prohibit camping and overnight occupancy in public streets, public roads, and public rights-of-way in unincorporated Pitkin County. This ordinance and the legislation that accompanies it is in your packet. The changes to Title IX are included as Exhibit A to the ordinance and will ultimately be published as part of the county code in the event that the BoCC adopts this ordinance today. Today is second reading and it is a public hearing. The ordinance increases both the fine schedule, creates a fine schedule and increases the fine itself for a violation of the county code with respect to overnight occupancy and camping in the right-of-way. The fine schedule is included in the changes, the amendments to Title IX itself, but is also set forth in paragraph 14 of the ordinance that's in your packet today. The basis and justification for the ordinance is set forth therein, and I do want to give the sheriff and the undersheriff an opportunity to weigh in on the proposed action. It was approved by the BoCC on first reading, although I believe Commissioner Jacober voted against the action. So it did get approved, but it was not a unanimous approval. There are no changes to the ordinance, nor are there any changes to the code amendments in your packet today. See a question and I'll stop
Yeah,
there.
I may request one addition or change to what's in our packet, which is matching the total road mileage with what's in the HUTF that was just presented. So consistency between those two tables that reflect the current road mileage in Pitkin County.
That's a good catch, and I'll make sure that while there's not necessarily a one-to-one overlap between the roads that we collect HUTF funds for and the list of roads in Pitkin County, I will make sure that to harmonize those two to make sure that the roads we do claim to be public roads are public roads as listed in Title IX. Title IX does include a specific caveat that there may be roads and or rights of way that exist in Pitkin County that are not listed in Title IX, but the county may still claim as public roads. We often either discover or rediscover or go through the process of researching a particular road or right of way and determine that the county either is the owner of the road or owns a right of way for the road and or maybe doesn't. So facts change, we learn things, but I will certainly take that into consideration and make sure it's correct. The last thing I'll say before I turn it over to Alex and Michael is this ordinance also intends to capture overnight occupancy and camping, not just in county-owned rights-of-ways and streets, but all public rights-of-ways and streets in Pitkin County. So that would include those managed and operated by the state, specifically Highway 82 and Highway 133 are the two main state thoroughfares through our county, of course. So I'll stop there. If the board has any questions for me, I'll take them up and then turn it over to these guys.
Craig and then Patty, please.
Only that, at first blush, this looks like a really, it could be called draconian. I've heard it called that because it sounds like we're just eliminating anybody's ability to park on a road. We have instances with backcountry users or campers or hunters or people who ski Hayden or whatever are going to be wondering if they're doing something illegal now.
I'm not sure that was the intent of the rule. We're trying to go after people who've taken up residence, as I understand it, on the sides of roads. How will we make the distinction, and will this be clear enough to do that? And then what are we looking at in terms of enforcing on this? And the answers lie within this, but there's a lot there.
There's a lot here. So directly to your question, and you are correct, the substantial thrust and the intent of this ordinance and the legislation that accompanies it is directed at camping and overnight occupancy of the right-of-way. So this ordinance has no effect on a vehicle that is left in the right-of-way for whatever reason, as long as it's not being utilized for camping or overnight occupancy. That was a gap in the code previously. It does, the current code, unaffected by this ordinance, does prohibit parking in all county road right-of-ways unless the area is otherwise designated for parking. And the sheriff and the undersheriff can probably talk about how their officers utilize their discretion to enforce that particular regulation. But this ordinance does not have any effect on just the simple act of parking in the right-of-way. This is geared towards individuals that are sleeping and living in the right-of-way. And it is possible to distinguish between those two things, both in the county code and as we're talking about this going forward today.
Great. I think that was the salient point. Thank you.
So do you want me to, I can hold mine because mine is a little more specific, or I can get mine over with now?
That sounds perfect.
Okay, get it over with now. CDOT, we were gonna send a notice to CDOT did we hear anything back?
Maybe I wasn't clear about this. Assuming the BoCC adopts this, I will send a notice to CDOT saying, the BoC, or the Board of County Commissioners of Pickens County has adopted this regulation. It potentially affects operations and management of the highway.
And I think CDOT will be glad to hear it.
Yeah.
And it takes effect immediately upon approval today.
As drafted, it
I
takes
saw that.
effect
Just noticed
today.
that. Okay, thank you. So my question's answered, and I'll let the two esteemed gentlemen take over.
Oh, sorry.
I think it makes sense to just talk with Rye about this a little. I guess I'm not sure the recitals match what you just said, and so
Okay.
I'm a little concerned because the way I read it, it just says it makes it unlawful to do this activity, not unlawful to do this activity unless we've taken some other action. And so I still continue to be concerned about how does this go into effect if we decide that Brush Creek Park and Ride is an appropriate place for someone who needs to sleep over one night, or something like that, or can't drive because of weather, can't drive because of alcohol. I'm not totally clear on how we retain sort of opportunity to include those type of things in future management plan decisions. Because what I just read this as we're making it unlawful to do this thing.
That's certainly what it says.
Mm-hmm.
And I think.
So do we have to amend this if we decide that Brush Creek Park and Ride is okay, or do we need to amend this to say?
I'm sorry, I wasn't following
unless.
Yeah.
Unless we've decided some other capacity or have signed it to be allowable or something else. Because what I heard you say is a little bit different from what I'm reading in the ordinance or in the resolution. Sorry.
Well, we should talk about your specific concerns. I will just address your general concern, or maybe not concern, question. This ordinance doesn't have any effect on how we manage or Pickens County manages Brush Creek Park and Ride or any other property that the county owns for whether it's buttermilk or the county administration building or anything like that. So this only deals with streets and roads and rights of ways, not our other properties that we manage in our proprietary capacity.
Okay.
And I think, Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, that it seemed as if there was maybe a concern in the way the question was phrased that it was a very black and white interpretation of the ordinance, and that we're either going to issue citations or always issue citations in these situations. But as has been the philosophy of the sheriff's office for at least as long as I have, the sheriff has always empowered his deputies to practice discretion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not simply that we're going to go out and find someone that is by the book in violation of this and remove the ability for the deputy to have discretion in these situations. The deputies will continue to have discretion for the examples that you presented specifically. Maybe the weather is bad and the individual can't, for whatever reason, move their car, or there are other factors that are at play. The deputies will continue to have that discretion as a tool to them. So it's not to say that they will always have to issue a citation in these situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there was a concern or even suggestion that we put a warning into this new legislation. And the deputies aren't going to go out there and write a $250 ticket first time out. They're going to warn, they're going to let them know. And we have, with our ticket writing system has a way to track those warnings. So if someone's warned once or twice, then, and again, we want to educate. So they're not learning from the warnings, and now it might be time to write a ticket.
No, I understand that, and I accept your representations of that isn't captured anywhere in the documents that we're going to adopt today. But I totally accept them and understand what you're saying.
So, Francie.
Is this applicable in municipalities that are within Pitkin County as well, or only unincorporated Pitkin County?
It's unincorporated Pitkin County.
Okay. And, well, I respect the leadership that you guys provide right now with the Sheriff's Department. There's no saying that that's going to be true in the future. So we could have different types of law enforcement in the county in the future. And so this would be on the books. There might not be discretion. Just saying.
Let's hope not.
Clarification from Rye, is there, based on Kelly's question, is there an addition we should make to the ordinance, or at this point, it's accepting the ordinance as drafted? In the work session as well as the 2 readings, we've talked about the discretion of the department. Is there a way to codify it within the ordinance?
Typically wouldn't draft into legislation like this, nor would I recommend that you do.
Understood.
To say something along the lines of the sheriff's office shall continue to use their well-meaning discretion to enforce the regulation. Regulation exists. I would say that examples that have been brought up like weather or other factors that make compliance with the law difficult or impossible are things that would be mitigating factors when evaluating whether the charge should be either brought by the deputies or prosecuted by the county attorney's office, and or whether those factors make compliance with the law impossible, and then maybe the judge, a third check on that discretion, would be able to evaluate whether imposition of the fine was appropriate in that particular circumstance.
Thank you for exploring. Patty?
And that being said, the person who would be ticketed, who felt that they had a reason that they needed to be where they were, always has the opportunity to plead their case in court.
Absolutely.
Which people do all the time for running a stop sign. No, I really stopped, but you thought I was still rolling.
For sure.
And that's just part of the process.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Further questions?
Are there overlapping codes that, I don't know, I guess make this all more practical or less practical? Like, I'm not being articulate. So what I'm thinking is, like, someone moves from Highway 82 and then goes and parks in, Southgate at North Star. Is that regulated under ownership of open space property code versus parking in the right-of-way code that we're discussing today? Like,
I suppose it depends on where out at North Star they are parking. We have, with the sheriff's office, Sheriff's Office has delegated certain abilities to open space and trails rangers to enforce parking out at and adjacent to North Star. If the camping or parking were occurring, well, out in North Star itself, like out by the river, or out at the beach, typically that would be handled through our Title 12 regulations, which is applicable to open space and trails. That's the provision of the county code, Title 12, that regulates open spaces and trails. There's no doubt that there are many overlapping areas of the code, overlapping areas of the statute, where an individual could become subject to more than one penalty of law for similar types of behavior. The way that this particular ordinance is drafted and the way that the county code reads, should the BoCC choose to adopt the ordinance, is that the fine structure would be in place as it relates to camping or overnight occupancy in a right-of-way if you move around from place to place, meaning if you're parked out on 133 for one night, that could constitute a first offense. If the individual then moves 2 nights later to another public right-of-way or public street, that could constitute a second offense. So it wouldn't be tied to one particular location. You could accumulate the fine structure no matter where you are violating the law. And that's the same thing that applies to continue to use your example for a North Star, something like that. If you have your dog off leash in North Star and you're cited by the Open Space and Trails Ranger for that, but then you have your dog off leash in the Roaring Fork Gorge management area or something, that would constitute a second violation of the Title 12 regulations as it relates to dog restrictions in open space, not tied to the specific location of the offense. So you could incur multiple violations irregardless of where you are conducting the behavior.
Well, so like say someone parks on 133, they get a violation, then they go park in the parking lot for the Redstone Park.
Mm-hmm.
What happens then? Is it the same violation? Is it under
It would
open
be
space?
I think in that
code?
specific instance, it would be a different violation
Open
because
space.
yeah,
Okay.
we'd be looking at applying the open space regulations there.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Patty.
Yeah, I just want to say something so the public understands that I believe this ordinance is going to emphasize and encourage the BoCC to really look at the opportunity for some safe parking overnight, not necessarily camping and living, but maybe for multiple nights for people at the Brush Creek Park and Ride. As far as our discussion we're going to have, hopefully it's in process. It'll be coming back to the BoCC soon to have a management plan out there. We understand there's a need out there for people to have a place, be it overnight parking for the airport or overnight parking because they're passing through or they're participating in an event. But we need to be sure we have the infrastructure in place for public safety and health and well-being at that lot, which is going to be, I think, part of our, which I think will be very in-depth discussion on how we're going to manage the park and ride since we now have ownership. And so I think this ordinance is spurring us into that because we've heard from the community, what about people who are coming here and just need to stop because they're tired or they're meeting somebody tomorrow morning, and I think we understand that, and we're going to take all of that into consideration in our discussion, which will happen soon, we hope, because we need to get that management plan kicked in. So thank you.
So I'd like to turn it over to Michael and Alex. Anything to add? And I apologize that we peppered you with questions.
That's okay. No, I don't know if there's much to add. I think it's going to be helpful for us to manage just what it's designed to do. Those people camping. I was just thinking where else it's really going to help us is mile 11-ish on Snowmass Creek Road during the summer. You get a lot of people camping out of their cars up there. So we're going to use it as a tool and not as punishment.
To protect the safety and well-being of our community.
Yes.
What's happening at Snowmass Creek Road, mile 11, that's troublesome?
Similar to what we see east of town. Yeah.
And other areas of the county.
Like a full summer of
Full
camping.
summer camping. Yep.
Like
And we get called up
set
there.
up shop here for the
Right,
year.
we get
Temporary
called up there
residency.
occasionally, more than occasionally during the summer for complaints. Especially for the person.
Way at the end, all
Way
the way
end.
towards
and
the
the
end.
person who lives at
Snowmass Lake.
1111.
Snowmass Falls end or the other end?
Snowmass Falls. So it's basically
Down
it's
by
the,
the end.
it's
Right
the
over the
bridge.
bridge.
It's
Right
adjacent to
over the
the
bridge.
parking
Yeah.
area for them.
Yeah, and we have some folks that are residents.
Yes.
So it would be helpful there as well.
Just put it on the record.
I'm going
I have
camping there next
suggested that we
week.
put some camping there when we bought that property with our open space money.
So this is a public hearing and second reading, opening up the public comment. Tony, would you like to come up and make public comment regarding public right-of-way?
I would, thank you very much. Shall I sit over here? Yes, please. And it's gotta be green. Thank you. It's red.
You're all set.
Is that, I think
It's
that's
red.
red.
Yep, you're good.
So that's good?
It is.
Okay. Hi, for the record, my name is Tony Kronberg, and for purpose of disclosure, I live in Snowmass Canyon at mile marker 28, and I see a lot of these examples that are brought up in this ordinance. First, I'd like to thank Kelly and Patty very much for bringing up the issue of Brush Creek Park and Ride, and that their awareness that in our community that we definitely need a safe haven for some overnight parking for people who are in events, who just, need a place for overnight that can't afford $2,000 a night for a hotel room. With that being said, is that I was wondering if perhaps, what the definition of what a public right-of-way is, and I just quickly looked through it and I didn't see it, and I know what a road is and what a street is, but I'm not quite sure what a public right-of-way would be. So I think that would help clarifying. And then the next thing is that where I live, I see a lot of emergencies, a lot of accidents, a lot of people break down. They usually wind up in the driveway where my house is. And there are some people, when they do break down on the shoulder of the road, they're in their campers and they cannot leave. They have to stay with their camper. So I was wondering perhaps in the ordinance, if maybe a person could be excused from getting a ticket if they have a true emergency based on like engine failure or a blowout on their tire or whatever, and they have to stay on the shoulder of the road that night. As I said, a lot of them make it down to where I live, and they'll park there for 2 or 3 days until they can get a tow truck or somebody to come and help them. And that's basically it. The definition of the public right-of-way, the fact that some people need some overnight occupancy, not so much overnight camping, where Patty and Kelly addressed Brush Creek Park and Ride with the management plan coming forward, and then something to qualify what would be an emergency, so that someone who has no choice in the matter, they have to stay in their vehicle because they're in the middle of the canyon and they're not going to get out and walk 2 miles to like a place where are they going to go, the gas station at night and sleep there, so they have to stay in their vehicle. But I just wanted to share my personal experience with this issue.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay, thank you.
Michaela, further comment online? Excellent.
Can I
Bringing it back, closing public comment, bringing it back to the board for further questions.
Can I ask the county attorney for just a brief definition of public right-of-way, because it's...
Sure, we can talk about that, as well as, I don't take some liberty here. I don't think including an emergency exception into this ordinance is an issue if the board is interested in doing that. Usually an emergency would constitute a potential excuse for compliance with the law, but to the extent the board wanted to put in the proposed ordinance or legislation that an emergency situation could constitute an exception to the regulation, I don't have an issue with that. Rights of way, the county acquires its interest in roads and rights of ways in a lot of different ways, and they take the form of a lot of different property interests. Typically, the use of the term right-of-way is associated with an easement, and an easement is less of an interest in property than actually owning it. Owning it in fee simple is what a lawyer would call it. The typical grant to the county is anything but typical for a right-of-way. It could be in the form of an easement, or it could be in the form of an ownership interest in the property that takes the form of some kind of fee, meaning the county absolutely owns the right-of-way, or some kind of limited fee where if it ever gets, the property at issue ever becomes no longer used for a county road, then it would revert back to the underlying property owner. So we have various types of ownership interest in our county roads around the state and in Pickens County in particular. Generally, when I use the term right-of-way versus the term county road, I think of a county road as a road that the county actually owns, meaning we own the property underlying the road. That's not always the case. The term is used colloquially, often interchangeably, but usually when I say right-of-way, I am referring to an easement for a county road as opposed to owning a county road across somebody's property, so, or through somebody's property. So that's the distinction. I know that's a little wishy-washy and it's not a great answer. But for every little chunk and every little mile of road we have around Pickens County, there's often a different way that we acquired it or that the county acquired it over time. And there's lots of legal means. I could spend an hour talking about it and I won't do it, by which we get county roads. So happy to talk about it more if you would like.
No, can I add that I think the definitions of the terms are all sitting in Chapter 11.
That's what I wondered.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Are you talking about land use Chapter 11?
I'm talking about Pickens County Chapter 11 would include public right-of-way. So I'm looking at list of ordinances, including Chapter 11, which has all the definitions. So to me, it's a defined term and doesn't need to be defined in the ordinance. But I'm not the lawyer.
In Land Use Code, Chapter 11.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that is a helpful place to look and find out what our definition of county right-of-ways is, for sure.
Craig?
I would be ready to make a motion repealing and reenacting Pickens County Code Title IX to prohibit camping and overnight occupancy in the public right-of-ways in unincorporated Pickens County. And I would add that I don't believe we need to add any other language about emergencies. I think that seems to be implied in the practice, and you still have the flexibility in the way it's written. So I'd keep it the way it was proposed, that we keep it the way it's written. And that's my motion.
I'll make a second with a comment.
Please.
I want to thank staff in the Sheriff's Office for getting this done because it's been an outlying issue for some time now with a particular parking area and concerns for public safety and health especially, and just what's appropriate and not appropriate for use of county right-of-ways or state right-of-ways. So I am glad that we are moving this forward, and once adopted, if the board chooses to adopt this ordinance, it will become effective upon signature by the chair,
Correct.
the new chair,
Upon adoption today.
by adoption.
Yeah.
Sorry, your signature can come later, but yeah, I just am glad that we're finally at this point, and thank you.
So I have a first and a second. I have a motion. Any further questions, comments? Kelly?
I'll support it a little begrudgingly, I guess. And I would just urge, the county as an organization to think about overnight needs and frankly broader camping. I mean, I think we've just been really closed off to it in the open space program that I've never totally understood. I do think that the Snowmass Falls area could be a great spot for a campsite and should be something that we are open to considering. That my preference would have been to kind of give more options and then regulate when the options aren't being availed of, and this is a little bit in reverse of that direction. But I recognize that it is a problem, and I hope that the solutions can also come forward rather than just the regulatory response.
Nancy, please.
Yeah, I'm going to continue to be a nay vote, and I agree that they've come before us in the wrong order. had they come before us in a different order where we were actually providing some opportunities for people rather than just taking them away, I might have voted differently. Anyway, thank you for your work on it. Thank you, Rye.
Thanks, Francie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
So the motion passes 4-1. Again, thank you to the Sheriff's Office for your work on this.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thanks for your work.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, check that one off my list.
So grassroots, we're going to resolution number 98 of 2025. Continuing our second readings, and Diane looks really comfortable, but she's up. Since you know my middle name
Please
now.
come with me, come with me.
So we have Diane Jackson and Charlotte Anderson and Ryan Mahoney joining. Thank you for finishing your lunch. I'll turn it over to you guys.
So we hear about the pilot, and Charlotte, I'm not sure if you want to kind of guide the opening. Thank you. Sorry, Charlotte, I'm not sure if you want to guide the opening for the commissioners on where we are with a pilot safety subcommittee.
I will gladly do that. Thank you. So this is a resolution, second reading, to amend the an original resolution of the subcommittee, the Pickens County Pilot Safety Committee. We brought this to you in December, I believe. We are, once this is approved, we will begin the application process for that subcommittee and get the application up on the website, and then the AAB will conduct interviews and bring those decisions back to you.
We're planning for that, Charlotte, and I apologize if you had worked with Kelsey. Planning to advertise that later this week with the hopes of being able to interview on our next regular meeting for the AAB in February.
Wonderful. Great. Questions regarding the subcommittee? Excellent. It is second reading. Patty?
No changes to the original. Perfect.
No.
Excellent. Questions for Charlotte, Ryan, or Diane? Excellent. This is
I'm on the next item too, Chair.
Yeah, no. This is a public hearing. I'm opening for public comment regarding the second reading of the Pickens County Pilot Safety Committee. Thank you, Barry Vaughn. Come on up. Yeah.
Ellen Anderson, concerned citizen, and I've said before, I think this is well-intended but myopic, because the common ground recommendation number one was safety on the air and the ground. And if you limit it to just pilots, they're going to see it from a pilot's point of view, which is certainly important, but it's not the only point of view. And the reason I say that is because when there's a crash, it's not just pilots who investigate crashes. It's the NTSB. There are all kinds of experts. And now, with all the software and pilots in aviation, I think there should be someone who's an expert in software. I think there should be a mechanic, because sometimes crashes are caused by mechanical failure. And I think it would be really helpful to have someone to bring that perspective to the table. Also, I think there should be someone from air traffic. So I think pilots are very important, but I think it's very short-sighted to have it only pilots safety. I think it should be safety task force for the air and the ground. And maybe there would be mostly pilots, but I think it's short-sighted to limit it to pilots. Thanks.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you. Further public comment?
Thank you, Ellen.
Ellen, I'll share. Everyone remembers the Space Shuttle Challenger. The one person who was on the Space Shuttle Challenger assigned by the Presidential Task Force that came up that discovered it was the O-rings that were that were brittle at low temperatures was actually Richard Feynman. And so probably one of the best moments in science was watching a scientist describe to the public officials why they just had a catastrophic failure in the Space Shuttle Challenger. So what you said resonates. Thank you. Patty.
Good point. Did we close public comment?
Sorry, I'm closing public comment,
Didn't
and I
wanna make sure
appreciate
there
your
was
public
anybody
comment.
else. I understand Ellen's concerns, but I think when we say on the ground and in the air, it means we're looking at ground safety, and the pilots are very well aware of when they hit the ground and how they hit the ground. And I think this does not close the door for us to invite people in, like people from FAA or people from the tower or mechanics or whoever, to consult with the directions and the suggestions and recommendations. And I would encourage, and I think we will, when we get a committee formed and have members, encourage them to not be hesitant or, to invite people in to assist in decision-making with their level and their specialized expertise. So I will, hopefully move that forward when we have the committee appointed to say, please, we ask that you invite people in when you're talking about, mechanical issues. Let's get some of that, some of those brains at the table. And I think that's going to be an important part of the process.
And if I may, Patty, even in the task force, they did that. They were often in communication with our tower manager, Kyle, and others. So they are very much involved, even down to Chris with our emergency manager. So they do involve them.
If it takes inviting somebody in from outside, we'll figure out how to get them here and how they can participate. Zoom, you can always invite them in that way. But I think that's going to be important. We're not going to be limited. We want to be, we want to be thorough. So thank you.
Further board feedback for Charlotte, Ryan, or Diane?
So,
Greg.
Devil's advocate here, following Patty's or following Ellen's comment. What would be the downside of involving local pilots and aviation professionals? Just a simple change of the phrase could be inclusive. So there may be a time when we don't have enough pilots to do this. Could we draw upon people who worked at the tower or on the ground who are intimately involved? Is there a reason not to do that?
So with everyone's permission, I may take the first stab at this because I worked with very closely on the safety task force. And I too truly believe that the reason why he'd formed this was who are pilots going to listen to best, and that's going to be other pilots that are familiar with our terrain, familiar with our operating environment, and they do involve the tower. And we have plenty of organizations and stuff that come together. I mean, we have a runway safety action team meeting annually that actually the tower runs, that all of us are part of, and comes out with a report annually. So there are different ways that everyone's involved, and I do know that they will involve them. I just think that it's easier for them because they are so busy with their tasks and their jobs that they get invited in. And believe me, Barry has been very communicative with Kyle, with Jonathan at Atlantic. So there's no shortage of that. But I don't think that if we didn't get the amount of pilots that we could come back to you and ask about that. But I suspect you're going to get a good group of pilots that were interested in the task force that really want to see this through.
And ultimately, the responsible parties in all these situations are the pilots.
The pilot.
Thank you. Okay, thanks.
I
Appreciate that.
Excellent. So at this point, I would take I've never seen resolution 3 times in a resolution. A resolution amending a resolution and approving a resolution to clarify requirements for recruitment of applicants and members of the ASCMENT Advisory Board Subcommittee, the Pitkin County Safety Committee.
So I will make a motion. I'll second the motion to approve this resolution.
Thank you. So first by Greg and a second by Patty. Thank you. Any further discussion by the board? Excellent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So publish it, get it out there. Let's start seeing people apply.
Thank you. Welcoming Diane Jackson to the dais.
Thank you.
You again.
I'm going to invite Greg up as well.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you.
I have 2 team members with as well.
Excellent. Mr. Boyd.
We have Greg Boyd as well as Nora Wavers today for our second read.
Excellent.
Would you rather have him? We actually have Brad still here from Mead and Hunt that we all had present to us in our joint meeting yesterday. He happened to be here and was willing to shift his flight a little. So if you have any questions, that may have followed up yesterday's air quality presentation for you, but truly today's resolution is approving.
Wait, and grassroots were on Holy Cross.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Excellent, thank you.
Today is really asking for confirmation from our emergency resolution that we brought to you for Holy Cross to do the work to put our reference stations at either end of the runway.
So this is an individual this is an emergency ordinance, sorry.
Confirmatory.
It's a confirmatory
Confirmatory
public
reading.
hearing.
Thank you. Questions for staff?
I believe I saw you all installing them the other morning. Is that
Yes.
right?
It's a lot of fun.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, Greg, and then Francie, please.
Yeah, the question would just be, this is the way to do it. There isn't another way that it could have happened with solar panels or anything else. This
I'm
is
so glad you asked that, Greg, because yes, we
counting
have
up,
been asked.
right.
And no, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, but regulating the power and the amount of power needed, it just wasn't feasible with these 2 stations. Now, mind you, we have the 9 others that are all solar powered. So
Right.
9 out of the 11
Right.
are solar powered, these units. And I was probably the one that referred to them as shacks at either end of the runway.
Somebody referred to them
Just
as
needed that
refrigerators.
continuous power.
They're
so-
palaces in this community.
Yes, they are beautiful.
Livable, uh-oh.
Right, and I think that if I could, I just wanted to say that this is all probably going to be powered off the microgrid and part of that whole thing anyway. So there's an alternative and renewable energy component to all of this anyway. But I thought it was a good question that was asked, and I just wanted to follow up. So thank you.
It was, and I would have appreciated being able to do solar power, to be honest with you, because it was what
It's a long run.
140,000
Yeah, it's an
probably
expensive
construction
run.
to be able to get it.
Yeah, so it's a nice cost-saving suggestion, but it doesn't make sense in this case. That's how I understand it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Francie?
Yeah, I did ask that last time, after we got the letter about it. And it just seems unfortunate we have to dig that tremendous trench and do all that. When is solar gonna be adequate? That's all. You don't have to answer, it was a rhetorical question.
I would have been so happy to be able to come to you all and say we could do this solar.
But maybe the whole airport will be powered by solar, so it'll be a moot point.
Be great.
We need public on this?
Sunset curfew.
Anyone online? Anyone in the room? Public comment open, public comment about to close. Bringing it back to the board. Seeing no virtual hands. Further commissioner comments, Greg?
I would just make a motion that we approve the emergency ordinance granting an underground easement to Holy Cross Energy and approving a trench conduit and vault agreement with Holy Cross Energy to facilitate an air quality monitoring study at the Aspen-Pitkin County Airport.
Excellent.
I'll second.
Thank you, Francie.
I have a question, please.
Please.
I wanted to probe Greg on whether he wanted to ask the question you posed of me in the hallway to the experts in here.
Remind me what it was. I have the attention span of a golden
The opportunity to
retriever.
monitor ultrafine part of
Oh, well, you know, I always bring up the opportunity whenever I can. I didn't see it as part of this, but perhaps it is. And I guess the question is, the federal government doesn't require us to do a lot of things, but it might still be a good idea to do it. I'm of the opinion that monitoring ultrafine particles is not a heavy lift, would not be a technical, extremely difficult thing, and it might actually give us baseline material, data coming back as far as this year. So when things do change or when new information becomes available, we have some data going back. It just makes sense as from a scientific standpoint, because there is concern around the planet that this is a problem. And just, it never suits me if the public health department says, well, the feds don't require us to do the right thing, so let's not do it. And that's what I heard from public health. And so I'm kind of fighting back on that, and I'd like to ask my board to say, hey, let's do this if you can, and if it's not too onerous a burden for economically or for the staff, because I think it makes sense.
I may start and let you kind of go in on the expert
And it may
level.
be, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I'm asking.
But I will say there were several conversations, meetings, even with Jackie and the AAB to very much to that point, and a lot of discussion on, do we do this, when's the right time to do that, et cetera. And I will kind of let you go into that, but it was ultimately decided to measure the health-based standards, which were, you know, what we discussed yesterday, not the ultra fines, but an ability to do so should there be health standards that come out that we can have to benchmark that against. But Brad, I can kind of let you kind of go into that a little further.
You said it perfectly. And so I'm not one of the PhDs that my colleague mentioned is on our team. And so we can provide back to airport staff some more of the documentation behind that. The monitoring for ultra fines is a different protocol than for other pollutants, just because it is a new science and specialization. But that said, I think one of the discussions that we've had is looking at the overall intent, and that our intent to this program is, again, looking at ways to reduce emissions, and that's all emissions, including particulate matter, incorporating ultrafines. And so that is what this program does accomplish, that goal of exploring those ways. And so as understanding the concerns and the interest in ultrafines, we will look at that and be able to provide airport with some additional kind of background information as to some of the challenges, or maybe in the case of opportunities for the future of looking at that.
Okay.
So having some experience with PM10, with Superfund and dust, et cetera, and also with my background outside of this board, yeah, there's a concern about the particulate matters being so minute, and their access and their ability to get into your lungs much more easily. And one of the concerns is we're getting down to a fine point where it's kind of like oxygen. I mean, how do you mitigate? Not that we shouldn't be looking at it in the future or seeing what we can do to just get some kind of baseline now. But the problem is we come up with this information. Where does it go? What do we do? And how do we use it? That being said, it doesn't mean that if we have an opportunity that makes sense to get some kind of, again, baseline data, maybe that's something we should take into consideration. But I know the feds don't have a standard, and there are no mitigations out there for how you would mitigate particulate matter that small, and how you would differentiate exactly where it's coming from to be ordered. There's so many issues. It's evolving, the information that Ellen has sent us. But right here in our own backyard, we have complicated matters. It's not coming from one source like a power plant next door. And it's not just the airport, it's the traffic, it's the grills, it's life. It's people smoking cigarettes, downwind or upwind. All of that stuff comes out. So I think it's something we need to not think about, but something we need to continue to think about and see what we might be able to do.
And I just want to add too, if you want to go into a little bit of the monitoring, Ryan and I were just talking about that
yes,
we're
please.
collecting all this data and how you're processing it through, and the final report that will come out with that may give some of that information that they're looking for, not necessarily the nanoparticles, but some of the other pollutants that we're looking at.
Yeah, so looking at, as we discussed during the working session, the National Ambient Air Quality Standards in particular, and the components that make up those, so the volatile organic compounds, again, we discussed as a precursor pollutant. So the monitoring program will be over an entire calendar year. We're capturing a lot of information, and the thing that we're excited to do with that is look at it from both a seasonality but also from an annual basis. There are a lot of questions about particular sources, and being able to provide some information, because it won't be definitive to say this concentration came exactly from the aircraft, or this one came from perhaps a rental car that was operating at the airport, or versus a vehicle on Highway 82. But we will, through this program, be able to define what the environment looks like. And in all those considerations of there being an airport and there being a major transportation corridor, and in conjunction with businesses and ABC and the residences. So our efforts will be looking at what the air quality environments looks like, being able to provide some information we expect as to the airport's contribution. The modeling aspects that are part of this will help with that greatly, because that will look at the total emissions being generated and the ability for that model then through our dispersion analysis to look at what the concentrations specifically from the airport would be at a location. That's something the models do allow for us to do. And so then as we look at the monitoring data that is associated with that, then we can be able to look at that and have our scientists come up with some reasoned conclusions as to what those kind of impacts are and what some certain conditions are, again, given the seasonality and the types of operations that are occurring both at the airport and in the community. And with that, again, I'll go back to what we've been charged with, is looking for ways to meet those common ground recommendations for significant reductions in all air quality emissions from the airport and from its operation.
Can I just?
Patty, please follow
Yeah,
up.
the nanoparticles would be my understanding, not being the PhD student, but the background on this, will be captured in there at some level. I mean, because if we're looking at the total picture and we're looking at the volatile compounds, that it's captured in there, and if we mitigate the stuff we know we can mitigate, at the same time the nanoparticles are going to be captured. Ellen is shaking her head. No, please don't do that, Ellen, because I don't know if that's probably, if we're looking at the whole picture of pollutants and the different sources and the variety of pollutants and the PM10s at some level, and we start to mitigate and reduce our air pollution, bring up our air quality, somehow, some way within there, and we can come back with an answer from a PhD in this field, that the nanoparticles are going to be captured into that. When we clean up the air, that's going to be part of the cleanup.
I guess I'll state an assumption that we have is that through the reduction of all emissions coming from the airport, that will correspond to a reduction in all particulate matter, including nanoparticles. We will have our team evaluate that, because at some points in air quality, there are trade-offs that, depending on, for instance, with aircraft engines, if you have a high bypass engine, it will perhaps reduce the nitrous oxide, but increase the emission of, say, carbon dioxide, just based on the chemistry and the type of how that fuel is combusted by different types of engines. So if we end up in a situation of where we expect there could be some type of trade-off between particulate matter and some other type of emission, we would highlight that in our evaluation. But again, our objective is to reduce all emissions, which would be incorporative of that, versus trying to make trade-offs.
Well, we can't separate it out. The nanoparticles are going to be part of cleaning up the air, regardless of whether or not we specify, we speciate, or we particulate size. When we clean up the air, we clean up the air.
Yeah, there will be, to state it again, we are hopeful for reductions across the board, and then being able to also document which components of those are maybe a greenhouse gas versus a pollutant, a different pollutant, that is intended to be part of our reporting.
Okay, great, thank you.
Greg.
I
Please,
guess
Greg, sorry.
Yeah, thanks. I'm of the opinion that more information's better than less. If it's not a high barrier to gain it. But I also wanted to ask about the VOCs. You know, when people complain about the smell they perceive coming from the airport and/or the highway, not sure which, are we going to be able to tell them what they're smelling and what that means for them? Because we hear the complaints we get are people who smell it at the golf course or at the buttermilk or North 40 occasionally. And I understand those are the VOCs. Those have nothing to do with the ultrafine particles or PM10s or 2.5 even, as much as they're smelling kerosene or something partially burned or not. Are we going to be able to pull that out so people understand what it is? Because is that what they should be afraid of, for instance?
There's a lot to that question. Odor, VOCs often are associated with odors. That is something that can present in kind of that receptor of our senses. I want to be careful not to go too far over my skis on this one. So we will be looking at and monitoring VOCs. Those that can be detected through odor or not is kind of a little bit of an ancillary issue, but there is correlation, as you recognize that. I mean, jet fuel has a number of VOCs included in it, and those are things that we can sense. And so I think there's a component from a overall pollutant standpoint, and particularly with VOCs, that will evaluate that. But our kind of study specific to odors and how to address that is maybe on the fringe of what we're looking at.
Copy that. One last thing, if I could just add, is I know I've been on aircraft that had to dump fuel, and I'm wondering how often aircrafts dump fuel over our valley, and if they ever do. I'm not sure if it's even an issue here, but is that something that's distinguishable from burnt jet fuel?
I don't have data on that. The things I can state from a general standpoint is few aircraft are capable of dumping fuel, that it's not every aircraft that does that, and it's only under extreme circumstances that they would. Jet fuel's expensive. They have no interest in having it disposed of in that instance. And also, there's other components to it. So I'm not aware of any jet fuel being dumped in anywhere proximity to the community.
Okay, interesting.
I would say if it's a weight and balance issue, say on departure for any airport, not just us, they would sit there and burn some fuel off to be able to do that.
Right.
Bless you.
I just remember being on
Bless
an
you.
international flight that had an engine problem, and they had to dump the entire fuel tank over Dallas. And I felt sorry for the people below us, but we did land safely.
Yeah, it is those very long haul, large aircraft international flights that have that capability.
Bless you.
The aircraft that operate here, the vast majority do not even have that capability.
I guess my final comment would just be, for me, the more information, the better, and if it's not too hard to get, why don't we do it?
Yep.
It'll take two more commissioners to agree, but maybe you'll keep an eye on it and come back to us when it seems ripe.
Well, and I do want to, that is what I want to hone in on, because I understand that the whole program is pointed towards being actionable, which totally makes sense. But I guess I'm just wondering, what hasn't been clear to me is it not possible to collect the data, even if we're not reading it right now or acting on it right now? Like, it's just part of a repository of information that in the future might be valuable?
It's not as, again, I'll be general just for the sense of making sure I don't misspeak for expertise. But as I understand it, the monitoring of that is not just a flipping of a switch or installing another air intake sensor. That those types of particles have a very high reactivity, and the protocol for testing them and for understanding kind of that evolution, that they are not stable. And so where you test in relationship to where they're emitted and what types of particles you're looking for and how they present themselves is different than, say, nitrous oxide, which is not entirely stable as a component of ozone, but has a little bit more established protocol. So even the protocols for testing these types of particles is not well established, just as the health-based standard is not. So to say that it is possible to test for these, there are laboratory experiments, there are ways of testing these, but it is generally a different protocol than what is established for looking at particulate matter at 2.5 microns in general, because this is a very highly specialized version we're talking about. So I think with that's where, with the airport's direction,
That's clearer
we
to
can
me.
provide
Thank
some
you.
better scientific answer than my general answer.
Excellent. Further discussion on the ordinance in front of us. I am hearing roughly 4 commissioners, if not 5, that are looking for potentially a further work session on this subject outside of the scope of the ordinance that we're about to adopt. So, Patty and
Yeah,
then
that
Greg.
is not the issue before us today, so when Greg's saying he needs to, to move it forward, that's not before us today, but I think at some point in time, as the program progresses, we can ask that they come back and I would like to find out how's the testing going, have we had any failures of testing equipment? Are we being able to catch nanoparticles? And if so, what do we do with that data? I think that's appropriate for us to bring it back and have a further discussion. We can have the PhDs in the room or online, so, but I think that would be valuable for us.
Greg?
Yeah, thank you. I would thank you, Patty, for saying that, and I agree. I don't want to beat it to death. I do want to stay focused on it. I would make a motion to approve, but one thing I still haven't heard is. We already had it.
Yeah, this was further
it's gone on
discussion.
for a while, hasn't it? I guess my final question would still be, and it hangs in the air, is what's the additional cost? And maybe you don't have the answer to that yet, but come back to us.
I definitely don't have the answer to that today.
Okay, thanks.
Brad, thanks for staying for the day, and thank you for joining us. Nora as well, thank you. At this point, we have an emergency ordinance of the Board of County Commissioners granting an underground easement to Holy Cross Energy and approving a trench, conduit, and vault agreement with Holy Cross Energy to facilitate and air quality monitoring study at the Aspen-Pitkin County Airport, Sardi Field. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I want to apologize to Ellen. I'm sorry, but I couldn't concentrate on him because all I could see was your head shaking, so I apologize.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Brad, Nora, Greg, thank you for coming.
Thanks for
And
coming.
Diane, we'll see. We're done.
We're done for
We'll see.
today.
We'll
I'll
see.
I'll see you next
Yeah.
meeting.
How about tomorrow?
That was the gauntlet.
You can come to the AAB for me.
We're welcoming back the undersheriff, and I think the sheriff? Yeah. We're moving on to the
And
town of
Raleigh.
Basalt.
Raleigh coming in? I thought Raleigh's here. Is she coming up for this one?
No, town of Basalt.
She's packed, okay. Oh, TOB, yeah.
I thought I'd be late when I left, but I guess not.
Right, we're flying.
We had some
Moving through,
we had
it's
some
good.
stallers on
We
the
were
last one.
14 on the agenda.
Yeah.
We moved through it pretty quick. Alex Burchetta, Undersheriff, Picken County Sheriff's Office. Back before you a number of weeks ago, we came before you with an intergovernmental agreement with the town of Basalt and Basalt Police Department to provide law enforcement services to the town, essentially helping out our partners in the Mid-Valley to support their effort to get their school resource officer, Jason Hegberg, back into the Basalt schools. Since the initial reading, the first reading of this IGA, we have successfully been able to engage in those services with the town of Basalt, successfully getting Jason back into the schools, which has been a tremendous benefit to the students and staff and parents as well. So we're excited about that. Back before you this afternoon for second reading and I believe public comment, and happy to take any questions the board may have.
Any questions for the sheriff or undersheriff?
I just have a
Comments?
comment.
Patty
Thank
Clapper.
you. This is a great idea. Thank you for working with Assault. I think it's critical to keep that resource officer in the school. And it's also, that's what we do in this valley. We help each other out, and this is a great example of that. And thank you guys for being creative and bringing it to us
Thank you.
to approve.
Thank you.
Further questions or comments?
I'll just make a comment. I've said I appreciate this program so much, and I appreciate you all are helping them out, as my two kids are at Basalt Elementary for another few months. Yeah, well, they're going to stay till the end of the school year, so lucky them. And we are going to miss Basalt Elementary so much. And I would just maybe suggest, in having had conversations with some of the Basalt police over the last year, they struggle with housing. And perhaps some of our housing partnerships with Basalt might address that in the future.
We could have put him at the dispatch center.
Just an idea. Thank you. And this is a public hearing, I think.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you also for making this happen for Basalt. I think it's really indicative of what a one valley community we are and how cooperative you are as a sheriff's department. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Excellent. Reminder that this is a public hearing. Anyone online wishing to make public comment regarding the town of Basalt IGA?
Uh-oh, it's just Levi. Uh-oh.
Don't let him
It's
talk.
not just
Yeah.
It's Levi.
It's Levi.
Waiting to leap at the end of this meeting, I can feel it.
We're getting him a T-shirt that says "Just Levi." Any other further?
We don't mean jeans.
Closing the public comment. Bring it back in the room. Any other further commissioner comments? Thank you both.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for supporting.
I will make a motion
Please, Patty.
to approve on confirmatory reading an emergency resolution of the Board of County Commissioners approving an intergovernmental agreement concerning the provision of law enforcement services by the Pickens County Sheriff's Office within the town of Basalt and authorizing an increase of $60,000 to general fund revenues. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Kelly?
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
guys.
Thank
Good
you
to
so
see you
much.
again.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks.
Grassroots Rally has been incredibly patient.
Well, with Tom's proclamation, you know how to say.
Grassroots, we've moved on to PACT, PACT.
Hi.
Hello.
The red light is on
Here we go. I'll introduce Claire in a moment. But Raleigh Backrack, the PACT administrator with Public Health, here for a confirmatory reading for a grant where we would be able to hire a second clinician for our PACT program. And surprise, we have been able to do so. We are very excited to have Claire on board. I'll let Claire introduce herself real quick.
Yeah, hi, it's lovely to meet you guys. I am thrilled to be in this position. It's not something that I actually knew existed before applying, and I think that every city should have it, but I think Aspen's really lucky to have these kinds of things. I started working in mental health on accident in 2021. I was actually a recreational therapist with the Youth Recovery Center before it was absolved in 2022 or 3. But since then, I've changed my whole career trajectory. I am just about finished with grad school, and I'm looking forward to a career working with both our community and mental health.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Where are you in school?
So I'm actually from West Virginia.
Yeah.
I came out to Colorado during COVID because what else is someone going to do? But I am in school at Marshall University.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Well, congratulations on choosing this field. It takes a strong person and somebody who's willing to make choices that are not based on money. So I appreciate it.
For sure.
Well, wonderful. This is a year grant. We still have to figure out if the state is able to request that no-cost extension to get our full year. I did just get notice that they have not yet received federal dollars for the upcoming funding cycle, which we would hope to apply for if it does become available for a second year of funding.
Excellent.
Let us know if we can help with that.
Thank you.
Please. Questions for Raleigh or Claire? Excellent. Motion?
Public hearing.
Sorry, public hearing, public comments. Real Levi. Just Levi.
We don't mean James.
Bring it back to the board. Any other further discussion? Bring it back to the board for.
I will happily make a motion
Excellent.
to approve the emergency resolution approving and authorizing the chair to sign a grant agreement between the BoCC and the Office of Adult and Juvenile Justice Assistance for the Pickens Area Co-Response Teams PAC.
I'll second that.
I have a motion from Francie and a second from Greg. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Nice
Thank you
one.
so much.
Thanks for coming. Good to see you.
Aboard.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you for the work.
So just Levi, do you have, we are in open discussion, just Levi.
Let him in.
Congratulations on your promotion, just Levi. Do you want to chime in on open discussion?
Thank you for having me, but absolutely not. I've got nothing to offer today.
Congratulations on the commencement today, the opening of the session this afternoon.
Yeah, we were already up to 25 bills. I've got a few different trackers going for you, so it's a very exciting day.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you joining us. Any other further open discussion?
I've got two quick ones. I did want to follow up with you all and for the public regarding the senior center closure. So we assets and working with ABH facilities, they are doing great. We are It's closed this week, but we will re-begin meal distribution out of the HHS building starting, I think we're looking at February 2nd, those have started looking at reopening around February 2nd, but meal distribution should be happening within the next couple of days at the HHS facility. And I know that they're also working on bringing back programming while the closure happens, whether it's the Tai Chi or other. And so we'll continue to bring that information out to the public and hope to have the pipe fixed within the next couple of weeks.
Too bad.
And number 2.
The only other quick follow-up to yesterday, we did confirm we have Matt, I'm not going to say his last name.
Yamashita.
Yeah, Mashita, scheduled for February 10th.
Excellent.
Okay. Great.
So that's CPW. Any other open discussion items?
I have a brief announcement. Just on February 10th at the February 11th, sorry, at the Senior Center. I'm putting on a presentation, a history presentation, and bringing in a band that will play a brief concert for over lunch at the Senior Center for the seniors. And stay tuned; you'll hear more.
What's the history?
Well, the point of it is it's celebrating the history of letters to the editor. There's been kind of a dearth lately. And it's been an interest of mine that the public engage with letters to the editor in our community in particular. And so we're celebrating it with an award ceremony for letters to the editor. And we're also celebrating the original letter writer to the editor was Freddie Fisher, who was a famous jazz musician who lived here in the 50s and 60s. And in his memory, we're bringing a jazz band in to perform, and we'll probably share some of the better letters that have been written in the last decades with the seniors. It'll also be an event on February 10th at the Paul Jazz Center. Will be a full party and ceremony that evening, open to the public. And then the following night, it will be at the Marble Distillery. So this is like a road show. And we're going to try to encourage people to opine succinctly with brevity and wit to the papers. And then we have to encourage the editors to publish them, because we've noticed lately that they haven't been.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So I will tag on to that, which is one of the gifts I got from Cindy Hubin when she cleaned out her office here was Freddie the Fisher's book.
Fisher the Fixer.
Fixer,
yes.
thank you.
You know it well.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah. So
it's a treasure.
It's an excellent book, and it was a gift from Cindy Hubin.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on the topic
Yeah.
of newspapers, I would like us to reconsider our exclusion of the Aspen Times. I think it's time for us to.
Can you
Yeah.
revisit this when
Yes,
I'm gone?
so I would like to revisit that after Kelly's departure. I think it's been punitive enough, and I'd like to relook at it.
Can I ask a question on that?
Please, Patty.
Do we have a time frame contract or something, don't we? We can change it anytime we want?
You all made that decision by resolution, I believe, for your paper of decision. So let me clarify.
So there is a process.
Yes, there is a process. It was just, we are operating right now on board direction. There is no formal for advertising in the Aspen Times.
Can I ask a question about that?
Let me finish, but I think it's important to note that you can find the daily news around town. It's really hard to find in Aspen Times.
It
these
is so
days.
hard.
So
Even here.
Yeah, so trying to put it in my neighborhood, they put in this many, and you know, so that's the thing we do. If we want to get the word out, we need to have it in a newspaper that's out there. But that could be part of the discussion rather than the punitive versus non-punitive. It's a matter of who gets the paper and who reads what we're doing.
I don't think the editors of the Times have made any amends with anything and commitments to transparency and disclosure in the community.
So, Greg, open
And
discussion.
we'll continue to ask that you don't decide this until I leave.
I was just going to say, all we've done is switch the paper of record from the Aspen Times, which it was for 100+ years, to the Aspen Daily News. I think that's all we did. Isn't that right?
No, currently we are not pursuing any advertising in Aspen Times or any Swift run advertising, which includes
Right.
Down Valley and on RAFTA. So we do advertise in Aspen Times or Swift for clerk and recorder regarding elections or any public safety. But anything else for jobs, public open houses, any of that, we are not advertising in the Aspen Times.
So we do like fire alerts and
Right, so we changed that policy and replaced that with the daily news. I would just say that I don't think that there's anything punitive about it. It's, we responded to, I'm thinking that we're responding to who serves the market best presently, and we can examine it from that perspective. And maybe it's both, maybe it's one, maybe it's none, I don't know. But I don't think of this as a punitive measure. I thought of it as reaction. As I've heard that the Aspen Times isn't particularly interested in covering government issues.
Nobody seems to be
anecdotally,
these days.
and the Daily News has kind of confessed that as well, although they keep telling us they're trying. So I just want to think we should examine it before we do anything.
Well, me too. That's what I want to do, is examine it. Not
Thank you.
today.
Not today. Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm hearing January 16th.
I don't even know how I feel about it. I just want to look at it.
Just want to look at it,
So
sure.
further open discussion outside of periodicals. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks. Good job, Jeffrey. Good job, Kelly. Good job, Jeffrey. Good job, Kara, Rye, everyone else.
I'm going to go home.
Are you? Kelly?
you.